Hare Krishna. Welcome to the second episode of Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura's preaching style, his mood and method. We're titling it Srila Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, Revolutionary Preacher of Truth. And I'm reading and commenting on this book, this chapter from this book of Sri Bhaktisiddhānta Vaibhav, written by His Holiness Bhaktivika Swami. Of course, the author is an ISKCON Guru, and we do not agree with his theological standpoint on that Guru system in ISKCON, because he advocates for being an ISKCON Guru, and we advocate for the Ritvik system that Srila Prabhupada instituted. So there is that difference. Nevertheless, this was a well-researched book on the life and teachings and character of Srila Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, and we can know a lot about this great Acharya who has revolutionized the preaching, which Srila Prabhupada then transplanted into all the continents of the world. So, we will say our Mangalacharan prayers, and we will continue from where we left off in part 1. This is part 2 of that series. I don't know if we can finish it today. If we can't, then tomorrow will be part 3. If we can't finish it tomorrow, then maybe part 4 on next Monday, like that. We will try to finish it in these 2 sessions. We will see how it goes, because the English is a little bit difficult to parse, and therefore we will have to probably do some heavy lifting in the matter of explaining that, so that it will be easily understandable for the audience. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayitaya Kripabdhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojjvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddhapa Siddhanta Dhvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambhara Sambhode Padambujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Gauravir Bhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshta Sajjana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathayate Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। जयतां सुरतौ पंगोर्मम मंदमतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्भोजौ राधा मदन मोहनौ दिव्यद्वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमाधः श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमद्राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवौ प्रेष्ठालीभिः सेव्यमानौ स्मरामि। श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भी वंशीवटतटस्थितः कर्षन्वेणुस्वनैर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथः श्रियेस्तु नः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Next week is Chinese New Year. Yes, actually. So next week probably there will not be any classes. Not probably, definitely there won't be any classes. So probably have to finish it this week. Worst case scenario, we will continue on the Saturday. Let's see how it goes. So continuing from where we left off, I think we left off at here. The positive method by itself is not very effective, is not the most effective method of propaganda in a controversial age like the present. So we have gone through that passage. Now the next, in numerous speeches and articles from there on, we need to go forward. Okay, just a note before we go forward, the screen, I have chosen landscape for this because the words can be very small. And so if you want to take my face out of the picture, you can just zoom in onto the words only so that you can read them clearly. Just a second though, I have somebody knocking at the door. One second. All right. Let me see. Let me know if the audio is all right. I'm sorry for the disturbance, the interruption. Let me know if the audio is coming all right. If yes, then we will just go forward. Let's see. Hare Krishna, Hare. Yeah, I think it should be okay. All right. So, in numerous speeches and articles, Srila Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī insisted that an actual sadhu must speak strongly. So, again, as there is an indent here, an indent, so that means it's a quote, either from Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura or from his one of the magazines or wherever. But this one is particularly from him. Harmonist. Okay. So, the only duty of sadhus is to cut away all the accumulated wicked propensities of every individual. This alone is the causeless natural desire of all sadhus. So, the only duty is to cut away all the accumulated wicked propensities. So, that is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. All right. Tato duhsangam utsrajya satsu sajjeta buddhiman santa evasya chindanti mano vyasangamuktibhi. Chindanti means cut off. Excessive attachment, vyasangam. An intelligent person should therefore reject all bad association and instead take up the association of saintly devotees whose words cut off the excessive attachment of one's mind. So that is what a sadhu must do. His words should cut off the excessive attachment of one's mind. 1 second here. Okay. Now going back to that. Okay. The only duty of sadhus is to cut away all the accumulated wicked propensities of every individual. This alone is the causeless natural desire of all sadhus. Worldly persons possess a double nature. They express one kind of sentiment but internally cherish a different purpose. Moreover, okay, a pause there. Worldly persons possess double nature. They express one kind of sentiment but internally cherish a different purpose. So this is very true, and it can happen in very subtle ways without our even noticing, unless we're very, very introspective. Sometimes I want to probably get more views on my video, and it can be due to two reasons. I can tell people that, I want more videos, views on this video because I want the message to reach out to more people. Or there can be a hidden thing. Maybe that is part of the equation, but the hidden thing can be that I want to be known as a preacher. I want to be known as a good preacher or a good speaker or something like that. So what are we really chasing? As much as we say na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, how serious are we about it? In the name of Yukta Vairagya, are we stepping on the other side of the fine line, which is wanting fame in the name of Yukta Vairagya? Is it completely asakti rahita, sambandha sahita, or there is asakta sahita and sambandha sahita, asakta sahita and sambandha rahita? There's some sambandha because we're talking about Krishna, but then if there is asakti, that is where we need to watch. Even if there is sambandha sahita, if there is asakti sahita, then there is very good chance of a problem. And in the beginning, it does happen that way. Even in chanting, there will be offensive chanting in the beginning. But we need to contemplate. Contemplation is key for us to grow. If we just mechanically do things in our sadhana, whether it be speaking or chanting or doing service, if we do mechanically, and if we are not meditating on the right message, then there will be an issue, there will be a problem. Because we are not actually mayarpitam manobuddhi. Krishna said, invest your mind and intelligence in thinking of me. And thinking of Krishna means what? Just think of his form? We can't think of his form more than a few seconds, at least the stage I am at. So, but even if we can, thinking about Krishna's philosophy, his teachings is as good as thinking of Krishna. Thinking about Krishna's service is as good as thinking of Krishna. Doing his service, being meticulous in every detail of that service, however mundane it may seem to be, if it is in relation to Krishna, it is spiritual. And therefore, we have to be attentively doing our service, chanting, reading, speaking, doing book distribution, cooking, everything there is in the service of Krishna, we have to do it. Our endeavor should be to do it with full attention. And in the beginning, it will not happen. Our mind is going all places. And part of when we preach is when we think we want to be known as a great preacher on YouTube, I'm a YouTuber and this and that. Then we are missing the point. Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, because now I'm reading this book, so many examples. Of course, Prabhupada mentioned this many times. He said, Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura said, I am having my monasteries, my mutt, Gaudiya mutt, he started, or in Prabhupada's case, in our case, it's temples. So the temples are situated in the busiest part of the world. I mean, in the most busiest parts of the world, in cities. And there is a double-edged sword. There are two sides to the coin. One is we want to give association to the people in the materialistic cities, but also we can get influenced by the materialism of the city. And he said like this, he said, the exact words I forget, but we are in the middle of the city, not for the city dwellers to influence us. Not that their habits, their thought processes, their actions get rubbed off on us, but rather to give the busy city dwellers a glimpse of the life of the sadhu, so that they can also become sadhus by association. So in other words, he's basically saying the same thing, that we have to give association and not take association from the materialistic people. So when we contemplate where we are, whether I'm absorbing or whether I'm diffusing the association, whether I'm spreading my association to them, which is if I speak about Krishna, am I thinking of Krishna, am I becoming more strong, or am I absorbing some of their consciousness? So this has to be very, very every day, every moment we have to introspect. In everything that we do. Like the other lecture we gave on the fundraising, Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura's lessons on fundraising, how he was contemplating the act of raising funds for the temple. We think it's a mundane thing. Oh, funds, it's not very spiritual. No, there's a lot of, we should see always from that example, not only fundraising, but everything, there is a framework there. There's a framework that we can learn from that lecture, from that chapter. Collections and spending. That chapter name was Collection and Spending. So Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura showed us how to be deeply Krishna conscious in that service. And we have an example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sweeping cleaning the temple, Gundicha Marjan, and there is a deep philosophy based on that. So from these we can understand that any service we do we have to deeply contemplate how it is purifying us. It is essential. Of course, while doing it, we have to be attentive to the details, to actual details of the service. But also, we have to step back and contemplate on that service. Not that we mechanically engage in the service and not be mindful of how it is actually purifying to us. Because all service is purifying, provided we contemplate. Otherwise, the purification is still there, because anything that we do for Krishna, Krishna will take into account. It becomes Ajnata Sukriti, or Sukriti with a little bit of Jnata, not completely Ajnata, but not the full potential. Why we should know fully as much as we can? Because if we do that, if we contemplate enough, then we will be strongly situated in our service, without any resentment, without any wrong attitudes towards the service, and not losing enthusiasm in a seemingly mundane activity of service. Maybe I have to do some admin work, or I have to go out, meet some government officials, or whatever it may be, or I have to just drive around for something, whatever it is. And of course, we should become, as we grow in our devotional service, we should become more and more expert at engaging more and more people into the service and accepting higher responsibilities and being busy with those responsibilities. Everyone must be busy in Krishna consciousness. Accepting higher responsibilities does not mean that I become lax and get the downline devotees to work hard and I become complacent. No. The extra time that I can get by delegating the services, I should use in expanding the services, expanding the responsibilities, taking up more, fill my space with higher responsibility service. So in this way, in short, we should not have a situation where, as we grow, we should always contemplate whether what I'm expressing is what I'm thinking internally. Is there a complete congruence of that? Or is there, more often than not, we would like to admit that we don't have any difference of expression and thought, but invariably, it is not possible to have such congruence in the beginning. We will have some materialistic thought processes going on, although externally we know that the behavior of sadhu must be like this, so I must present myself like that. But internally, I may have a different reason, and it is not for me to confess in front of anyone. Not just that, not that. It is more on myself. Am I watching myself? Am I introspecting? Pashyataha mune. Pashyataha muni means who is seeing himself, his inner workings. That's why there is that song, Bhitar bahir thik na hole, Gaura bhajan anurage. So, Bhitar bahir thik na hole, Gaur milena. So, if we are not clean inside and outside, not just outside, we are not wearing a devotional clothes or looking like a devotee for other devotees to see that, okay, he's a devotee. Yeah, he looks all right on the externals. That's not the goal. And external must of course be okay, but more importantly, the internal must be okay. It's not that, internally I'm okay, externally I don't need to be okay. I don't need to wear exactly devotional clothes or tilak or something. No, externally should be okay, and it will inform our internals as well. Because when I dress like a devotee, it will also inform me that I better behave like a devotee. It is a good external guardrail for me, so that I don't deviate from the behavior of a devotee in the beginning. And the other advantages, other people will recognize as the devotees, they'll say Hare Krishna, so we're reminding them of Krishna. That is good, but more importantly, it is for our own purification, and internally also have to be there. So the worldly persons have a double nature, and we should count ourselves again among the worldly persons. We are just now trying to become devotee, we are still worldly persons. We invariably have this thing as well, and therefore although we have to introspect, sometimes we are not good enough in our introspection, and therefore an inspection from another devotee and then chastising words or sharp words from them is very essential. It'll help. We should be very, very grateful. Oh wow, I did not see this coming. I did not see this coming. I did not see this in myself. But thank you for pointing it out. Or I saw it, but I did not take it seriously. But now that you're telling me explicitly, now yes, I have to look into this. I have to work on myself on this particular aspect. So that's how we should train our mind. So worldly persons possess a double nature. They express one kind of sentiment but internally cherish a different purpose. Moreover, they want to advertise this duplicity as a mark of liberalism or love of harmony. This is very important. This is, see how subtle this is. They want to advertise this duplicity as a mark of liberalism. In other words, I have an enjoying propensity, and therefore I may, in my preaching, support some other enjoying propensity of worldly people. And in that way, they are also satisfied with my words. And in that way, what will happen is that, suppose I say something like, you should balance your material and spiritual lives. Don't become too spiritual, don't become too material, balance them. If I say something like that, because I'm telling you this because there was an experience that I had when I was going with some other brahmachari who was not exactly from our temple, an external person who came, and then I was just taking him to some businessman that I knew, and we were going and trying to explain some project that we had. So in one of those meetings, he was mentioning like that. Don't become too spiritual, don't become too material. You got to strike a balance. So I did not like that. I immediately interrupted him and told that businessman, no, we should actually become spiritual only. Now, of course, you can't, and therefore, if we are saying that we can't become too spiritual, then we are too spiritual. Like we are wearing this color now, we shouldn't be doing this. That means, so that's not correct. We have to become completely spiritual, otherwise we have no admission in the spiritual world. But at this point, we're not yet there to completely devote ourselves. So okay, so what we can, we should, and we should always strive for moving forward. That's the whole point. What is the balance? The balance will always change depending on my advancement in Krishna consciousness. What I'm comfortable with, how much spiritual life and how much material life, is how depends on how advanced I am in my understanding of Krishna consciousness, and therefore we should encourage Krishna Sambandha Vijnana, so that the more and more one understands one's relationship with Krishna, one will automatically want to, I want to serve Krishna more. So that should increase in one's life. So we should not just take the money and not make them improve. We should try our best to always give them beneficial instructions on their improvement. So now, giving that scenario where I say something like, okay, you should balance your spiritual and material life. Now that other person will like that instruction more than my instruction, which is, or the actual instruction, which is we should always grow spiritually. We should become 100% Krishna conscious. And he would consider the person who is saying balance to be the better sadhu. But herein is the defect there. Many defects there. Because when I say balance, I look good in his eyes. And if I am having a little bit of material things going on, people will not criticize me, because that's what I'm preaching. That's the level I'm preaching at. That, okay, you can be material and spiritual. It's okay. So when I do that, then people will not correct me, because, but if I say you have to be 100% spiritual, then I have to also come to that standard of action, because if I do even a little bit less than that, I will be judged by the people. Hey, you said you have to do this, and now you're not doing that. So that's good for me. That's good for me. So what he's saying, moreover, they want to advertise this duplicity as a mark of liberalism. Now, if I say balance, that looks like, he's more liberal, he's one nicer, he's easier to talk to. Yeah, I can get he understands me. It's not that the other person does not understand. In fact, he not only understands, but he wants to improve you. He doesn't want to keep you stagnant. And that is not very welcome by worldly people. Those who are not advanced, they don't appreciate that. But still, nevertheless, we should do that, because one day it will strike them. Yes, he was right all the way. So, one thing is, I will not be judged. First of all, I will not help him by just asking him to so-called balance and not even explaining what the balance is, what is actually balance. Spiritually, is it even a right thing, balance? Or we should always grow our spiritual life? That's the more valid point. So there's a mistaken instruction, and then I will not be, it will not purify me, because I am not telling the right thing. I'm not representing Krishna the right way. I'm not representing the Guru Parampara the right way. And people will not check on me, because I am putting down a very boiled down or watered down standard. So I will not make myself accountable to a very high standard of Krishna consciousness. Plus, there is a weed that is growing, which I'm nourishing, which is that of pratishtha. I want to become known as a good preacher, I want to be satisfied. I want to be gratified with the thought that that person respects me. And therefore, Bhaktisiddhānta, yesterday I was reading, Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura said very, very important point. Those preachers who do not compromise and who take all risks of being criticized and even be the recipients of violence, they are actually practicing amanina, or they do not have the desire for pratishtha. They want to just be servants of Krishna by preaching the absolute truth, not wanting to cushion it or pad it so that my ego is also satisfied. In the name of preaching Krishna, I am preaching Krishna's message, but also my own ego needs to be satisfied that I want to be known as a good sadhu and they're appreciating me. So there is a weed that is growing, pratishtha. So only those who preach uncompromisingly, without any desire for pratishtha, I don't care if people do not respect me, I must preach the truth, however difficult it is for them to accept. I have to present the truth. Of course, it does not mean that we just pick up fights, but we just present the truth in a straightforward way. That itself will agitate many people. And we should not hesitate. We should not hesitate. No, in that way we'll not be having a lot of followers. That's fine. That's fine. We don't want too many followers. Yes, we want the whole world to become Krishna conscious. That does not mean we water down our standards. Prabhupada said, we should not change to accommodate the public. We should change the public to accommodate us. We should not change to accommodate the public, but we should change the public to accommodate us. That is preaching. They should accommodate our viewpoint in their lives, not that, they cannot accommodate, so we will accommodate. We will change, and we will be suitable to them. No. We have to make them suitable to our message. That is real preaching. It's not that Arjuna said, I don't want to fight. And Krishna did not say like, okay, never mind. You don't fight, but maybe you encourage others, and let's see how to do this. No, you fight. Accommodate. Krishna did not budge. That is what we should notice. Krishna said, Sarvadharman parityajyam mamekam saranam vraja. Tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami masucha. So he said, you have to surrender to me and work according to my direction. He did not budge, you see. He took him through a whole series of instructions and got Arjuna to accept. Sarvametad ritam manya yan mam vadasakesha. Arjuna said, I accept in total whatever you have said. And karishye vachanam tava. No. I karishye vachanam tava 90%. You karishye vachanam mama 10%. So in that way, we'll have a compromise. At least we'll come to a middle ground somewhere. No middle ground. Only Krishna's ground. Our ground should be relinquished. We have to leave our ground, step over the fence, go to his ground only. That has to be done. That is surrender. That is surrender. Now, often the argument can be that yes, I agree, that is surrender, but what if people are not there yet? You have to kind of accommodate them a little bit, meet them where they are, and then bring them to your side. True. What is the meaning of meeting them where they are? What is the meaning? To present them the truth. Yes, we know you are doing this. Okay, now you have to understand that this is the truth. That is uncompromising. So understand where they're coming from, but we don't want to sit with that understanding. We have to change that understanding of them. So our preaching means to change their understanding, not that we empathize with them, understand their position. Yeah, actually, if you see it from his perspective, it is right only. Huh? Where is preaching then? So we should understand, yes, where it's coming from, and we should understand that it's a full Maya. Now we have to explain that is preaching, and explain. In fact, Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura said, and Prabhupada repeated many times, that we have to be ready to spend 200 gallons of blood to make one devotee. It's very difficult, and we should preach in all kinds of preaching. That does not only mean speaking, but also actions, but also everything. So that way, we should be conducting ourselves. Okay, so moreover, they want to advertise this duplicity as a mark of liberalism or love of harmony. Those who are unwilling to show any duplicity, who desire to be frank and straightforward, or in other words, to exercise unambiguously the function of the soul, such really sincere individuals are called sectarian and orthodox by those who practice duplicity. See, those who are frank preachers, straightforward preachers, they will be labeled as, oh, you're sectarian, oh, you're only Vaishnava, you're not like all inclusive about Hinduism. And it is very easy to fall into such traps. We may want to do, people will see us as sectarian, so let us do something for the greater Hindu cause or humanitarian cause or something like this. I should not be sectarian. They should not see us as sectarian. They should respect us. So if we do something for them, they will respect us. In that way, maybe then we can have a chance to preach to them. If we can satisfy them now, then at least they will listen to us, what we have to say, and then, in that way we can preach. No, because it's a slippery slope. Once we satisfy them, then we get some recognition. Now we should know that that recognition is not a blessing of Radharani. It's a blessing of Durga Devi. Because that recognition will quickly dissipate if we take on the Vaishnava stance. If we take the Vaishnava stance, then it will immediately become disappear. Oh, again, you're sectarian. What is this? You said one thing and now you're added allegation now that not only are you sectarian, but you try to cheat us by presenting yourself as inclusive, and now you're going back to sectarian. You're chameleon, even worse. Or, so you can't do a switch then. Once you get a popularity, okay, then I will preach. No. You got popularity because of a different reason. And if you dial back your thing and say, I'm Vaishnava and preach pure Vaishnavism, those people who came to you for a different reason, they will go away because that's not the reason they came for. They did not come for Vaishnavism. And those who really want to come for Vaishnavism, they will not stay because they will see that what are you doing? You are switching stances, and then why are you doing such things? So you will, when you chase, the easiest way to not catch any rabbit is to chase two of them. it is said. If you chase two rabbits at once, you will catch neither. If you focus on catching one, then yeah, you may have a chance. So we should not catch everybody and anybody. No, that's not our goal. We should not discriminate between who patra va apatra. You know, magivana mage, magevana mage. So we should not see whether who is qualified or who is not. But that does not mean we should see. We should give this opportunity to everyone. But that does not mean that we should accept everyone. If they are somewhere, okay, we'll meet them there, then we'll bring them first. Let them hear Hare Krishna, they'll get purified. No, that's not purification. We are getting contaminated. They are not getting purified. We are getting contaminated. We should understand that. What is compromise? So, such people, duplicitous people, who will say, oh, everything is okay, this and that, they will consider us sectarian, or they will consider us orthodox. They will give us names. Oh, we are too orthodox. They're not very liberal. They're not very all-inclusive. Difficult to deal with them. They're not very nice people. And Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura is saying, those who are unwilling to show any duplicity, who desire to be frank and straightforward, or in other words, to exercise unambiguously the function of the soul, such really sincere individuals are called sectarian and orthodox by those who practice duplicity. We will cultivate the association only of those who are straightforward and avoid the company of others, even if it be a little painful to hear straightforward words. But that's what we should seek for our own good. By all means, we must avoid bad company. We are advised to keep a distance of 100 cubits from animals of the horned species and should observe the same caution in regard to all insincere persons. So, that is that passage. Continuing on, another passage which is 17, what is this? From Harmonist again, February 1931. Okay, so this is again Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. Without doubt, a sadhu's words possess power to destroy the evil propensities of one's mind. In this way, sadhus benefit everyone who associates with them. There are many things which we do not disclose to the sadhu. The sadhu, the real sadhu, makes us speak out what we keep concealed in our hearts. He then applies the knife. The very word sadhu has no other meaning than this. He stands in front of the block. What is a block? A sacrificial block. There's a wooden block on which the animal is put and then is slaughtered. So, he stands in front of the block with the uplifted sacrificial knife in his hand. The sensuous desires of men are like goats. So our weeds that we have are like goats. They have to be slaughtered. Not that we advocate for the slaughtering of goats, but this is this analogy of the slaughter is given here because the sadhu's words should slaughter the goats of our sensuous desires. And that will be a little painful because we're attached to the sensuous desires. And that's why the harsh words of the sadhu hurt us. Because we're attached to sensuous desires. If we don't have sensuous desires, the sharp words of the sadhu do not hurt us. They actually inspire us. They strengthen us. They always strengthen us, but we will feel such strength. When a sadhu speaks sharp words, truthful words, and when I have sensuous desires, they will hurt me. When I do not have it, they will inspire me. They will strengthen me. They will reinforce my enthusiasm. You will see this effect, especially when you're reading Bhagavatam. In the everywhere there are verses which condemn family attachment, right? For a person who's very attached to family life, oh, whoa, what kind of words are these? These are very, very sharp and wow, we cannot enjoy material life anymore. This is quite depressing, considering that I have a family and all of that. This is not very good to read. It appears like that for some people in the beginning. But as we advance, we actually relish. We relish such words because we understand the futility of materialistic relationships. So, we have to, instead of criticizing the sadhu for using sharp language or harsh language, the sadhu is not being harsh, he is being truthful. It appears harsh to us because we are contaminated. It's not harsh. Truth is harsh to the hypocrites. So, if I do not become a hypocrite, Santa means those who are honest. If we become more and more honest, what is that honesty? That means my internal and my external should be the same. So in the beginning we are not. We are duplicitous. We are invariably duplicitous. Even if I say, for example, if suppose some devotee chastises me and I said, Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'm sorry. But inside I may feel, how can you say that to me? I'm very disturbed. Of course, out of courtesy, we don't say, we may not say that, we may not retaliate in front of the sadhu, but inside we may feel. But outside I may say, Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes Prabhu, okay, I'll leave. But then I'm thinking, how can you say that kind of thing to me? So internal and external is not the same, you see. But when I actually, when the, like for example, a classic example, I always give this example, Shivananda Sena. he, I mean, it's a long story, but basically, he always every year used to lead the devotees from Bengal to Orissa. At that time, they were all different kingdoms, so there was a border, and he had to cross, and all the devotees had to cross. And so he was making the arrangement. And in this particular year, he asked all the devotees to go, and then there was a something held up. I think there was a bigger queue or something. So he said, "Okay, you all go first. I will settle this at the toll gate, and once I finish, I'll come." So he sent them, and Nityananda Prabhu also is in the party. He was also going. So there was unexpected delay, and then overnight it became, and then next day morning he went. So Nityananda Prabhu, in the meantime, he was becoming very angry. He became very angry. So how can he just allow us to go and then not even arrange any accommodation for us? Is this how you serve? He was becoming very angry. And then he said to Shivananda's wife, who had 3 sons, all your 3 sons should die. So he cursed. Now, on one hand, we may also think, how can Nityananda Prabhu is the most merciful and then he can behave like this? In the case of Jagan Madha, he was so merciful, but here he is behaving in a very, very hard way. So after all, what did they do, the children? How can he curse them? How can he curse the children when they have done nothing wrong? Even Shivananda Sena did not do anything wrong. It was just, it became delayed. What could he have done? And even if it was his fault, why the children should be cursed? This is very, very unacceptable behavior. I can always come up with that. And Shivananda's wife was kind of thinking like that. Not exactly like that, but she was just petrified because, she started crying and all. And in the morning, Shivananda Sena comes. He wanted to apologize. As he was trying to approach Nityananda Prabhu, his wife intercepted him and then said, "You see, Nityananda Prabhu cursed our children to die because you did not come," and he's very angry. He said, "Then why are you crying?" Shivananda Sena said to his wife, "Why are you crying?" Then not only our children, we both also should die for the offense that we have done to Nityananda Prabhu. So why are you crying, foolish woman? He said, "Foolish woman." And he went straight to Nityananda Prabhu to apologize. Nityananda Prabhu did not even consider, he just kicked him. And he fell at a distance. Kicked him on his chest, that too. Kicked him on his chest. Now you may think, what is this? Is this actually a merciful person? I can always come up with that, right? How horrendous behavior, I can come up with that. But Shivananda Sena did not have any duplicity. He immediately, wow, Brahma cannot get the lotus feet of Nityananda on his head. I got on my chest. How fortunate I am. And he started dancing. And he was dancing. As he was dancing, Nityananda Prabhu also danced with him, embraced him. You see how I should take it. So when he was, presenting himself as humble, he was actually humble. Not that externally humble, but internally I have something. No, no, that's not duplicity. So, but I will say there's a caveat, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged in duplicity as well for preaching. That's a totally different thing. Now he went to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and he said, "Oh, I don't know anything. My guru saw me a great fool, and he just asked me to chant Hare Krishna." And as he was listening to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explain the Vedanta Sutra for 1 week, he did not comment, he did not question, he did not change expression. He was just listening. Before that, he said, "Yes, I would like to learn from you," he said to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Of course, he doesn't want to learn from him. That was a lie. That was a lie. But it was a duplicity for the preaching. So, such devices may be used for preaching. And even that duplicity, we got to know how to apply it. Oh, for preaching for Krishna, I can do anything. Not anything. We got to learn from the examples of what we can and cannot do. So, can we be duplicitous? Yes and no. Depends on the situation. And what kind of duplicity, that also matters. So, it's very nuanced. So, we need to understand the intricacies of these conclusions and of these things so that we introspect also correctly. Because we cannot introspect ourselves based on one rubric in one situation and, oh, this Prabhupada said like this in this place, or this Acharya Bhaktivinoda Thakur said like this, or Rupa Goswami said like this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said like this, Krishna said like that. Yes. And yet we have to know how to apply each of that. Where and how. Everything we have to know. There is a lot of nuance and intricacy in following. And which needs to be the priority. Which version of it should be the priority in which situation. We need to know that. We need to learn that. That comes with more and more realization, with more and more experience, with more and more advancement. So, going on. The sadhu stands there to kill those desires by the merciful stroke of the keen edge of the sacrificial knife in the form of unpleasant language. If the sadhu turns into my flatterer, then he does me harm. He becomes my enemy. If he flatters us, we will be led to the road which brings worldly enjoyment but no factual well-being. So we should not covet flattery. We should not expect praise. Amanina manadena. Why? Because praise is poison. And a desire for getting no praise is actually humility. Amanina and manadena. We should respect others and not expect respect. Because if respect comes, then we can easily become contaminated. Immediately we should transfer that respect to Prabhupada and the Vaishnavas. In that way, and not just superficially, but deeply also contemplate on why, when somebody respects me, why I should actually philosophically convince myself that I don't deserve this, and it is all due to Srila Prabhupada, the Vaishnavas, the Parampara, Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is all the respects they are the worthy recipients. I am not. You have given me, if you find anything valuable, it's only because of their mercy. And when I say that, I should not just say that so that people will think like, oh wow, how humble he is. Wow, yeah, actually I'm humble. Yes, see how nicely I've said that actually I'm not the recipient for praise, and Prabhupada, see, I'm actually humble. That's the worst duplicity. And it can become very dangerous, as much as we're laughing, but actually it can become very, very dangerous if you don't notice that. It becomes chronic. It will become a chronic illness. So we should, even in the moment, if we just say it and not much thinking about it, later on we should contemplate. When we have time for ourselves, we should contemplate. I said that it's all due to Prabhupada's mercy. Do I believe in it? Why do I think it is Prabhupada's mercy? Why? Let me actually state out some reasons on why I should think it is Prabhupada's mercy. Why I should not get the praise. Why do I think in my heart, although I said that to him, why do I think that why do I feel nice that I was humble? That was a kind of a pratishtha, a desire for pratishtha. That's not good. So I must convince myself that all credit goes to Prabhupada, and I should be able to explain why it goes to Prabhupada and not me. That is called contemplation, and contemplation is what will actually elevate us if we deeply contemplate. That is called introspection. If the sadhu turns into my flatterer, then he does me harm, he becomes my enemy. If he flatters us, we will be led to the road which brings worldly enjoyment but no factual well-being. He is a sadhu by contact with whom He is a sadhu by contact with whom the weapon of his words can cause one to give up all mischievous behavior, all attachments to the non-absolute, and all imagined conceptions. See, what a nutshell description of a sadhu. Who is a sadhu? A sadhu is one whom, if we contact by the weapon of his words, I will be able to give up my mischievous behavior, my attachments to the non-absolute. That means all my material attachments I will be able to give up, and all my imagined conceptions, everything will be cleared, and the truth will become the unambiguous thing that I need to pursue. Krishna will become the only thing in my mind. Yes, I should surrender my life to Krishna. That karishye vachanam tava, if somebody can do to others, if somebody can elicit that reaction from someone else, for Krishna, that is actually preaching. That is the kind of sadhu we should yearn to associate with. The aggressive pronouncement. So all these things have, by the way, numbers, footnotes. 18, it's from the Gaudiya magazine. Okay. It's a Bengali magazine. I don't have Gaudiya magazine in English translate. I don't know if it was even translated in English. I hope it will be. I hope somebody does it, because apparently there are very nice articles there. So, the aggressive pronouncement of the concrete truth. Aggressive pronouncement. Okay. The aggressive pronouncement of the concrete truth is the crying necessity of the moment. For silencing the aggressive propaganda of specific untruths that is being spread all over the world. Okay, do you understand that sentence? Because it's very necessary to understand it. So, the aggressive pronouncement of the concrete truth is the crying necessity of the moment for silencing the aggressive propaganda of specific untruths that is being spread all over the world. So the world is being run because of untruth. All untruth. The scientific propaganda is untruth. The political news that we are hearing every day is untruth. Complete untruth. We are being fed as a nonsense propaganda slop. We are being fed that. It's not even correct what is going on. It's not even accurate. We are shown a drama, political drama. That's not true. And we are also distracted by so many sports and pop stars and this and that, movies. We are distracted in a myriad ways. And as if that is the most important thing. And our education system, our education system is an aggressive propaganda of untruth. When we say, especially, when we advocate, when Prabhupada or Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura or Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaur Kishodas Babaji, when they advocate, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when they advocate for aggressive propaganda of the truth, aggressive does not mean like that. Aggressive means without compromise, without softening the blow, without holding back the punches. Full blow, we have to give it. And people may think, oh wow, that is not going to work because that's not very good. As a sadhu, you should not do that. No, 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 no. Why do you think it is okay for the world? Oh no, it's all okay. No, it's not okay. The world is not okay. Our education system is a specific untruth, and it's an aggressive propaganda. How it is an aggressive? No, the teachers are not angry and saying you're a rascal. They're not aggressive. They're just kind. You know what is aggressive? You know what is aggressive? Okay. And modern Westernism or Western modernism is expert. Prabhupada said this. Prabhupada said, there was a quotation in which he said, the Muslims, the Mughals, they ruled India for a good 700 years at least. And the British for about 200 plus years. Now, the difference between the two was, the Muslims, they were aggressive, they were overt in their violence. They were overt in their violence. Everybody could see that they were nasty. They were, demolishing temples, they're killing people and killing women, children, everybody, raping, all of that. It's visible evil. Okay, so it's easy to notice. Prabhupada said, I don't remember the exact wordings, the exact verbatim wordings of it. He said, I'm paraphrasing here. He said, the British, though, were expert at harming with a smile on their face and by convincing us that this is actually good for us. The Muslims could not do that. They did not convince us that this is good for us, what they were doing. But, so we were like, it felt forced upon us. Whereas the British, they found a way, they're much more cleverer, and the violence is much deeper. Because now, you don't have to demolish temples in the name of education. We will revive the education system so that you can also go into higher rungs of society and you can dine with us, you can be with us as a Britisher almost. Second class although, but yeah, you can sit with us on the same tables and kind of have that royal feeling. So they made it as if it's something to be worth chasing, and they pitched the education system as if it's the route to enlightenment, and as if we were struggling in the depths of darkness, and then they come up with this educational system. And now people themselves, Indians themselves, wanted to embrace that education system. And eventually what happened? There was no need to demolish temples. Temples can be there. We will not demolish. We are kind people. We only do good to you. We will give you education. What is the result of that education? You will not want to go to that temple. Temple can be there, but it will not influence you anymore. You were influenced by the temple, but this education will ensure that that temple will mean nothing to you or your descendants. And they were willing to play the long game, because the people at that time would not be so irreligious. But over time, 4 or 5 generations down the line, people become very religious easily. Because if they can take the child out from the family and then put in their school system, and pretty much all his waking hours, if he is bombarded with this system of education where there is no mention of God and everything has explanation, we are scientific, we are forward thinking people, we are rational, logical people, not believing in something that is invisible and something which can't be proven. We are very methodical. If that is presented, and then people will come to accept it, and then nobody needs to go to the temple. That's what people will think. So you see how they administered in a much more covert way and not in an overt way. And they did much more harm, and they're still doing the harm, because now they don't need to do it. You yourself will harm yourself, because they've convinced you to harm yourself, which is what, for example, this modern transgenderism is like. Because they say, oh, if you want to be a boy, you can be a boy, or if you want to turn into a girl, you can turn into a girl, and cut off your genitals. If somebody else cuts off somebody's genitals, that will be atrocious crime. Or if somebody cuts off a woman's breasts, that's atrocious. But if you now convince the woman to cut off her own breasts, of course she won't do it herself, she will willingly come under the knife to pay the doctor to cut off her breasts and be a man. So you have convinced now the woman to mutilate her body, or you can convince the man to mutilate his body and take hormonal injections, by injections or by oral all kinds of things where your body is messed up. That's just one example. The vaccination is another example. Oh, you can't, you have the choice. Oh, you be saved, so that you can't get the disease. Yeah, I want to be saved. Who knows what they put inside that? And it has proven beyond doubt that it's not effective, this COVID vaccine. Those who did not take the vaccine did just fine. And those who did the vaccine, many died. And there's no reporting. There's a lot of lies. And normal people, they don't see through all of this. Like this, I can go on everything, and there's so many things like this. Everything the materialistic people do is harmful. So when they do such aggressive propaganda that, they make a system where you have to give your child away from yourself. Both parents have to work and give the child to a school and then daycare center or whatever, tuition center, whatever. The parents pay in the name of education, and that child is being systematically programmed to think that there is no God and to chase materialistic endeavors, materialistic goals, which will sap him of his human life. The meaningful human life will become destroyed by such endeavors. And he's being led to that. He's being shown what are the role models. Here, this is a successful man, Albert Einstein was a little bit at least God conscious, but they don't highlight the God conscious part of it. They highlight the physicist part of him. They highlight sports stars. Ronaldo, oh, you see, become a sportster like him, footballer like him, or become a businessman like Jack Ma or Elon Musk. Look at that spaceship going up to the sky and coming back. Wow, that is an engineering marvel. You want to be that? You need to learn how to code. Let me teach you Python. Okay, Python classes for youngsters. Okay, become Elon Musk. So you see how we are being led to gravitate towards certain ideals that will serve their worldview, the Western modernistic worldview, and fill their pockets with money so that you can become their slave and fill their pockets with the money. So in this way, your life will become ruined. So there is it's very aggressive. It doesn't look like aggressive, does it? No, parents are willing. How can you say? And they will pass law. If you don't put your child into school, then you are liable to be punished. Criminal. You see? It sounds all good. Yeah, actually, people should not let their children be uneducated. Yeah, it sounds all good, but what is that education that is being given? Do they learn anything about life? Why are the stress levels so increasing every day? Why can't people handle life? Because they know nothing about life. They only learned about livelihood, not life. So the aggressive pronouncement of the concrete truth is the crying necessity of the moment for silencing the aggressive propaganda of specific untruths that is being spread all over the world. So we have to silence the aggressive propaganda of the untruth. For that, we have to aggressively pronounce the concrete truth. And it's the crying necessity. Not just necessary, crying necessity. Desperate necessity. So reading on. Without cheating anyone, we should boldly proclaim the truth to everyone. Even if the truth is unpopular, if it bestows genuine auspiciousness on the living entities, we must speak it. Unless we fearlessly speak the truth, Sri Sri Guru Gauranga will not be pleased. Who is Guru? Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is the original Guru. So Sri Sri Guru Gauranga, Gaur-Nitai will not be pleased unless we fearlessly speak the truth. If we fearfully speak the truth, it means we speak the truth, but I don't want to offend him. That means you're afraid of him. That's not. I may present it as not afraid. No, I'm not afraid, but I'm just trying to make him understand in a language that he can understand. That means I'm afraid. I don't want to disturb his view of the world. I should disturb. That is preaching. I should disturb. And I should have my reasoning as well. It's not, disturb means we're not picking fights. We have to convincingly talk about it. And it may disturb people. But so be it. Never mind. It's okay. It's okay. So unless we fearlessly speak the truth, Sri Sri Guru Gauranga will not be pleased. The more determined one is in devotional service, the bolder and more courageous he will be as a preacher. Important. The more determined one is in devotional service, the bolder and more courageous he will be as a preacher. So, how to be determined in devotional service? When we follow the rules and regulations and contemplate, seriously contemplate, then it will increase our determination. And anything that we are facing, or we have to go through, or we have to do in Krishna consciousness, will only strengthen our determination if we contemplate. Contemplation means thinking deeply about it. Set aside time for yourself, like if you have pockets of time, like think about it. Instead of just wasting our time on social media. That's the biggest problem of social media, It robs us of our time for contemplation. And devotees will become very, very shallow like that. They won't become deeply thoughtful devotees. And what will happen is, they will try to produce content on the social media in ways that people can digest. Compromising with their philosophy, like that. We should not. We can take to social media, we should preach, but preach the real truth. If nobody likes or nobody watches, doesn't matter. Nobody reads, doesn't matter. Write for our purification. We have to write for our own purification. That's it. And for being a bolder and more courageous preacher, we have to be determined in devotional service. Because once we are determined, we can convince others of our determination. If I'm not determined, if they say something, yeah, actually it's okay, yeah, I understand you. The strong preacher also understands him, and he understands that is nonsense. He has to bring him to the right path. So that is the difference. So that is quote number 20 of this chapter. Next, if I were to desist from speaking the impartial truth for fear that some listeners might be riled, I would be deviating from the path of Vedic truth to accept that of untruth. I would become inimical to the Vedas, an atheist, and would no longer possess faith in Bhagavan, the very embodiment of truth. You see, we are saying Satyam Param Dhimahi, the absolute truth. And if we deviate from the path of the Vedic truth and accept the path of untruth or compromise with untruth, then we will no longer possess faith in Bhagavan, the very embodiment of truth. Yeah. Britishers peacefully killed the Hindu culture, Vedic culture. Yes. They peacefully administered poison. Prabhupada said that. Yeah. In peace, they did not do much aggression as much as the Muslims did. Yeah. As Richa is saying, Hare Krishna, sadly, the narrative set by British rule was civilizing India. Perfect manipulation. Yeah. But we could not see it. We could not see it because they make us feel that we have a choice. Oh, I have made a choice. I have worked hard for my children to have a good education. I'm proud of my being a good father or mother. They instill in you pride for giving poison to your child. Whereas if somebody else gives poison to the child, manipulating the child, you will not like it. But here, they will not make it look like manipulation. They'll make the parents feel proud that I have given my son and daughter good education and I'm proud of it. That's what they think. So this is the thing that we need to notice. This is the actual truth. Hiding behind a facade of goodness is absolute evil. The mask has to be taken off, and for that we need to be very sharp in noticing that. So we can't be if we do not understand the Vedic truth, and if we do not contemplate on it deeply enough. Okay, going on. He maintained that the Vaishnava's aggression is required to counter enemies of truth. And here are some of the quotations. The loyal servant of the absolute truth is required to be the active opponent of all violent enemies of the truth. The loyal servant of the absolute truth is required to be the active opponent of all violent enemies of the truth. And what is a violent enemy? What is violence? If you do harm to others, that is violence. By not preaching, we are doing harm by letting them suffer. Oh, he's suffering. Let him suffer. It's okay. He's a rascal after all. He's not a devotee. That's why he's suffering. And if I actually go to help him, I will compromise with him. Not actually save him by giving him Krishna, but encouraging him in whatever he's doing. Add a little bit of Krishna in your life. You're not preaching the utmost crying necessity of Krishna consciousness there. That's what we should do. That's what preaching is. It's a crying necessity. We impress upon them that. No, they are all fallen. Yeah, preaching is to fallen people only. Preaching is not to the Vaikuntavasis who are ever liberated. Preaching is not to people who accept what you say. Preaching is to people who do not accept, and to make them accept is preaching. Precisely. The meaning of preaching is that. Otherwise, there's no need for preaching. Why? So the loyal servant of the absolute truth is required to be the active opponent of all violent enemies of the truth. It is his imperative duty to protest against the violence of non-theists in uncompromising terms and take all consequence of such protest. Whatever may come our way, we have to be prepared to face it. He is to give up his own life if he is not in a position to oppose the enemy of Vishnu in an effective manner and cannot also avoid their society. See, if we can't avoid the society of the enemies of Vishnu, which is pretty much the entire society of the world today, we should not avoid such society because we want to preach to them. And when we are in that society, if we don't preach, if we don't state the truth, if I don't become the enemy of the untruth, then he has to give up his own life. That is the meaning of the sentence. And if he possesses the power it is his imperative duty to use it against violence. And when we say violence, not just physical violence where blood is coming out, no. Anything that is not Krishna conscious is violence. You are destroying the soul. So it is violence. One who does not perform these imperative duties commits a grave offense against the truth. Now we know the offense of not preaching to the faithless. But you see what is the offense against the truth here? That you actually preach to the faithless. Not the absolute, what is saying, envious. Envious we can't really change. But we should oppose them so that the innocent may see that and change. We should oppose the envious so that the innocent may change. The envious may not immediately change. We should fight nonetheless. And fight means intellectually, practically defeat them, not physically kill or something. But we have to change. We have to defeat their ideologies. And then the ideology will not have such a grasp on the people when it is exposed as a fallacy. Then, until then, because the people were thinking that this is right, so they will be gripped by such ideology and they will see the world through that ideology. When we shake that ideology and then kill it, people will not see from that lens anymore. Then they will start to listen to what we have to say. That is preaching. The theist is by no means enjoined by the scriptures to be a non-violent, passive spectator of the violent acts of aggressive non-theists against Vishnu and his devotees. Beautiful. I mean, it is so strongly worded, very effectively worded. You see, let's read that again. The theist, that means the devotee, is by no means enjoined by the scriptures. That means the scriptures don't sanction the devotee to be a non-violent, passive spectator of the violent acts of aggressive non-theists. The non-theists, those who are non-devotees, they're aggressive. What is the meaning of aggressive here? Or they become angry and they kill and they punish. Not just in an overt way. Aggressive means they don't keep to themselves. They don't keep their ideologies to themselves. They want to spread it. They want more and more people to adopt that ideology. Why the education system otherwise? They want to present a certain ideology, certain education system. You see? And because they want to mold the worldview that we have. And we are purposefully kept away from our religion. Religion is denigrated to an optional part of your life and not stressed, that too. Nobody asks whether how you're following a religion, what you will do. No, it's up to you. Don't talk about it. Here we'll talk about the subjects that are in the school. So in that way, effectively, you're silenced. Your religious part is silenced, and that is aggressiveness. Although it may not sound like that. Oh, we are a secular country, we can't favor any religion, so therefore we don't speak about any religion. No. Real secularity means actually be equal to all religions. Positively equal to all religions. Be positively equal to all religions. That means allow every religion to understand the true meaning of their teachings and follow it in a peaceful way. So, and ensure it. Now that is not a priority. Only GDP matters. The gross domestic product or the collective income of the country. That's what matters. The financial position of the country matters. And therefore, everything else is secondary. It's inconsequential. The measurable consequence is the financial position of the individual and the country as a whole. So that's what matters. That'll be the KPI, key performance index. So our performance will be judged according to the index of our finances. So that'll be the yardstick by which we measure whether a country or a person is advanced or not. Money matters. So in that way, what will happen? That's a very aggressive stance. That's a very aggressive stance against God consciousness. You're not even allowing time. If people have any time, they are given the social media. They are given technology, and it's allowed. And when we want to do a Rath Yatra, some countries they don't allow it on the streets. Oh, you need a license. We wanted to have a busking permit here in Singapore. We wanted to get a license where we can sit on the roadside and sing, like Harinam, the harmonium, mridanga. It'll be a new cultural mix to the Singapore, the ethnic mix of Singapore. It'll be people will like it. We went for the audition. There's an audition here for you to get the license to do that. We were not selected. They liked our music. They liked our singing, but they didn't want to give it to us because your Hare Krishna is okay. No. So, but I see Christian singing sometimes, Christian songs. So why is it not allowed? Why? Why is God not allowed? Is it such a crime to chant God's name? So, is it a violent thing? But that is aggressiveness. That is precisely what aggressiveness is. So when there is such aggressiveness from their side, we will be just passive? No. We will have to be, aggressively pronouncing the concrete truth, not mincing words, not softening the blow, not holding back the punches, not padding it, not cushioning it. Just a straight, plain, straightforward truth. So the theist is by no means enjoined by the scriptures to be a non-violent, passive spectator of the violent acts of aggressive non-theists against Vishnu and his devotees. This is not the meaning of the teaching of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, by which the devotee is required to be humbler than a blade of grass and more tolerant than the tree. These qualities are to be exercised in upholding and not for deserting the cause of the truth. How beautifully said. The humility and the tolerance are qualities that are to be exercised in upholding the cause of the truth. But if we show this humility and tolerance for deserting the cause of the truth, what kind of humility and tolerance is that? We have to be humble, like Prabhupada said. We have to be lamb. We have to be like a lamb in the presence of devotees and the lion outside. But if you're like a lion inside the association of devotees and then like a lamb outside, that's not preaching. That's an offensive mentality. We know where to exercise our humility. Our exercise of humility and tolerance should be for upholding the cause of the truth. What is humility in the cause of upholding the cause of the truth? That means truth should never be compromised. The administering of truth should never be compromised. How we administer it, that can change. Okay, if I have to go in a humble way, I will go in a humble way. But I'll present the truth nonetheless. Truth should be administered. But if I desert the cause of the truth, that means if I am humble in front of everybody, yes, Hare Krishna, yes, but I don't speak anything. I just want to be known as a good guy. I'm deserting the cause of the truth. I'm good in the eyes of the non-theists, atheists. That means that's not a good credential to have. Those who are sincere will accept the message of the truth if we present it as it is. There are many people who are hungry for the truth, the real truth. But when it is not presented, then those who are searching for truth will never find it in our words. Because they are looking for something, they're looking for Krishna, although they can't know it yet. But if we present Krishna philosophy without compromise, it will touch those hearts who are sincerely seeking. If we hide and mask it in different ways, we may touch people who are not seeking the truth. And we may present them a watered down version of what the truth is. And those who are actually seeking the truth will not find it very palatable because they know what we're speaking is nonsense, then they don't take interest in us, then we walk by. So we are serving neither if we are compromising. And we are not even serving ourselves. We are not getting purified by speaking the truth, not speaking the truth. We are remaining impure and become more impure because we are spreading the impure message. So we become even more offensive and impure. So nobody is being benefited there. Only my pratishtha, my desire for being known, well known, and be known as a good guy, that is only increasing. I'm only feeding that. No well-being for neither me nor the audience nor anyone. Nobody is benefiting from it. Neither the innocent nor the envious. Nobody is benefiting. Very nicely worded. This is not the meaning of the teaching of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by which the devotee is required to be humbler than a blade of grass and more tolerant than a tree. These qualities are to be exercised in upholding and not for deserting the cause of the truth. So, back to narration, because the indent has changed again. It is back to this indent again, full page, full width. So, after his major victory at Balighai, you know what Balighai victory is? That famous speech where he gave Brahmana and Vaishnavas. So, in which he unequivocally presented Vaishnavas as far, far superior than the Brahmanas. And he also condemned the birth, Brahmana by birth, all of that. I have a book, Brahmana and Vaishnava. It is actually the translation of that Bengali speech, which Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura wrote it and delivered it. And before delivering it, he showed it to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur approved it. He said, excellent, speak it. So that book, that speech was a major victory, first major victory of Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. So that is being referred to here. After his first major victory at Balighai, Siddhanta Saraswati had been encouraged and blessed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur with the potency to go on speaking in that unrestrained manner. What did Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? You will be undefeated everywhere in presenting Vaishnava Siddhanta. If in propagating the straightforward, unbiased truth, the entire anti-devotional, misguided, self-interested community unites to attack you, still no one will be able to muzzle your fearless voice. Never desist from preaching the truth. Look at that. Look at that blessing. How inspiring this is. How inspiring this is. You see, you will be undefeated everywhere in presenting Vaishnava Siddhanta. If in propagating the straightforward, unbiased truth, the entire anti-devotional, misguided, self-interested community unites to attack you, still no one will be able to muzzle your fearless voice. Never desist from preaching the truth. Let's see where it is from. 23 footnote. Nadia Prakash. So it's from the magazine Nadia Prakash. That means Bhaktivinoda Thakur was quoted as saying this. In 1938, this is after the departure of Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, 19 February 1938. Well after a year. January 1st, 1937 is when he departed. This is after him. So it was published then. So that's the source of it. But this was what Bhaktivinoda Thakur told Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura after that speech. So Saraswati Thakur was more concerned with preciseness than politeness. Preciseness over politeness. He spoke what people needed to hear, rather than to nourish their perverted desires, and never employed euphemisms or other devices that might have softened his message and made it more palatable. You know what's a euphemism? Euphemism is a word. Euphemism is when you make something sound nicer than it actually is. You can call a bus driver bus captain, like they do in Singapore. Bus captain, or pilot, or things like that. But actually, it's a driver. It may sound more polished than it actually is, but it's the same thing. So to make something sound more nicer than it is euphemism. So he, Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, never employed euphemisms or other devices that might have softened his message and made it more palatable. He explained, a chanter of Hari Kirtan is necessarily the uncompromising enemy of worldliness and hypocrisy. It is his constant function to dispel all misconceptions by preaching the truth in its most unambiguous form, without any consideration of person, place, or time. The form to be adopted is that which is least likely to be misunderstood. Okay, this is very important. You see, he does not leave anything for speculation. This is such nice presentation. You see, unambiguous form. Constant function, a preacher of Hari Kirtan, a chanter, his constant function is to dispel all misconceptions by preaching the truth in its most unambiguous form. What is the most unambiguous form of the truth? Without consideration of person, place, or time. The form to be adopted is that which is least likely to be misunderstood. Now, you may say, oh, if we say we are Vaishnavas, then people may misunderstand to be a sectarian thing. How we should include, there should not be misconception, right? You hear it is said, should not be misunderstood. So I should make them understand that this is a universal religion. Yes, I should make them understand that Vaishnavism is a universal religion. I should not speak about universal religion without mentioning Vaishnavism, without mentioning Krishna, without mentioning Krishna consciousness. Today I watched one leader in a Hare Krishna devotee leader in India. He was giving a speech. It was very weird. Very weird. Because he started something and he's kind of making an introductory speech about it, about how to unite all Hindus with a uniform protocol. Let's put it that way. I was like, what? That's not strong preaching, honestly. That's not strong preaching. Say what you may, that's not strong preaching. Why should we worry about the unity of the Hindus? Why should we? A unity of, that's precisely what Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura was against. If you want to unite Hindus, might as well unite Ram and Ravan. Might as well unite Prahlad and Hiranyakashipu. Might as well unite Pandavas and Kauravas, because all were Hindus. Every one of them were Hindus. Charvak Muni is a Hindu. So just unite everybody. There need not be a war like Ramayana and Mahabharata. Why? Unite. All Hindus, no? We should unite. Why should we? Why should we? We cannot unite truth and untruth. We cannot mix oil and water like that. We should advocate and be bold enough to preach that Vaishnavism is the only religion that matters. It is the only religion that matters in this world. And we should not just claim it, but prove it. They say, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. If you make an extraordinary claim, then you got to present extraordinary evidence to support it. Otherwise, like, you just can't claim something. So we have to become more conversant with the philosophy, with the evidence. Why Vaishnavism is the mainstay religion, which is the only religion, which is the actual religion. Everything is either, I think we have read, what's it in this chapter? I think it was in this chapter, in the previous thing we said. Everything that goes on in the name of religion in this world is either a deviation from Vaishnava Dharma or a step of progression towards Vaishnava Dharma. It's either of those two. Otherwise, it's all Vaishnava Dharma. Vaishnava Dharma is the only Dharma. We should know that every other thing that goes on in the name of religion it's a path towards Vaishnavism, pure Vaishnavism, or it's a deviation from pure Vaishnavism. We should be convinced of this fact. Why should we worry about, we should have similar rituals for everybody, the protocol, and he explicitly was saying, like, it doesn't mean that the same thing, but the same method. Why are you worrying about the same method? Just preach the unambiguous truth. You see here, it is the constant function of the preacher to dispel all misconceptions by preaching the truth in its most unambiguous form. The form to be adopted is that which is least likely to be misunderstood. Now, if I present a universal, Hindu something, we'll unite everybody something with something, and people may come to that and respect that, and we may have high level unity among all kinds of Yatama Tattvapat groups, and you may have such worldly respect, and people may respect you as a sadhu and sant and all that. But what have you done? They misunderstood us. They misunderstood us as one of them, one of everybody. Everybody is as valid as the other. We don't want that. That's precisely what we don't want. We want to stand out. That mood, that is real preaching. We got to stand out. Least likely to be misunderstood. So we can't be misunderstood as being one of them, one of everybody. No. Clear, very clear, that we are separate from everything else other than, we only advocate for full surrender to Krishna, nothing else. And we will show that all religion leads to this culmination of Vaishnava Dharma. So it is his bounden duty to clearly and frankly oppose any person who tries to deceive and harm himself and others by misrepresenting the truth. See, it is the bounden duty to clearly and frankly oppose any person. See, clearly and frankly oppose. Bounden duty. We have to oppose any person who tries to deceive and harm himself and others by misrepresenting the truth, whether due to malice or genuine misunderstanding. Maybe he does not himself understand, but he's sharing it. Or he's actually doing it out of malice. He knows it, and yet he chooses not to enlighten them. Gaur Gopal, classic example. And others are also malice because, like, for example, Sadhguru, malice. He does not have any regard for Vedas or anything. And yet he's trying to occupy the space among Hindu leaders, religious leaders. Crap. Absolute crap. His position is nowhere justified in any Vedic scripture. And we have to point it out. People may not like it. Absolutely doesn't matter. Absolutely doesn't matter. We are not here to be liked by the people. That's precisely the problem, if we want to be liked by the people. Of course, it is not that we actively choose to rile everybody up, but we should just speak the truth. Yes, as palatably as possible, but never compromising. In a manner suitable to the understanding of the public, but not compromising it. We think, truth is too harsh, so let me make it better by putting some sugar coating. That means we don't have faith in Krishna. Even Krishna's words cannot solve the problems of the world. You have to add some sugar coating in order to solve the problem for them. No. We have to be convinced so that we can present it in a form that is acceptable to the people. And at the same time, not compromising it. And if some people are left upset about it, so be it. So be it. So, this will be possible. What is that will be possible? The uncompromising, frankly opposing any person, that kind of attitude will be possible, that kind of action will be possible if the chanter of Kirtan is always prepared to submit to being trodden upon by thoughtless people. If such discomfort will enable him to benefit his persecutors by chanting of the truth in the most unambiguous manner. What a beautiful sentence. You see, Trinadapi Sunichena, right? So if what is Trina? Trina means grass. And Trinadapi Sunichena, more humbler than the grass. So what about grass? Why is it so humble? So because people step on it and it doesn't protest. So here it is said, this will be possible if the chanter of the Kirtan is always prepared to submit to being trodden upon by thoughtless people. If by speaking the unambiguous truth, Kirtaniya Sadahari, this chapter brings about such deep meaning of Trinadapi Sunichena verse that is just so beautiful, so inspiring, and so revolutionary. Because humble means I have to be prepared to be stepped upon, trodden upon, just like the grass is prepared to be trodden upon, right? So if I speak the truth, people will step on me. I mean, they will consider me useless. They will step on me in the sense, not only the grass is being stepped on, people may pass urine. Animals may pass urine on it, stool on it. There's no regard, like grass. So I should welcome all difficulty, and that is actually humility. For the cause of Krishna's message, I am prepared to undergo all sorts of troubles and insulted by people and everything. That is humility. That is tolerance. How beautiful, how beautiful. This is real humility. This will be possible if the chanter of Kirtan is always prepared to submit to being trodden upon by thoughtless people. If such discomfort will enable him to benefit his prosecutors by chanting the truth in the most unambiguous manner. If he is unwilling or afraid of considerations of self-respect or personal discomfort to chant Kirtan under all circumstances, he is unfit to be a preacher of the absolute truth. If he is afraid of personal discomfort or his self-respect may go down if I unambiguously preach, then he is unfit to be the preacher of the absolute truth. Humility implies perfect submission to the truth and no sympathy for untruth. Humility implies perfect submission to the truth. What is that? We should be humble before the truth and no sympathy for untruth. If we have sympathy for untruth, I'm not being humble to the truth. I'm thinking, I'll be humble to the truth this much, but that part, I think the truth is a little bit too much. I think I'll accept a little bit of untruth there. So then it'll be easier for people to accept. So let me have a little bit of untruth there, because so that's not submission to the truth. That's not humility. Humility implies perfect submission to the truth and no sympathy for untruth. The moment I start to have sympathy for untruth, I have an opinion about the truth. And that's not submission. That's me judging the truth. How much truth is actually worth telling? Mm-hmm. So that kind of a thought is dangerous. I'm not being submissive to the truth at all. I'm distancing. So this is such, his words are so sharp. Those who entertain any partiality for untruth Okay? Those who entertain any partiality for untruth are unfit to chant Hari Kirtan. So this Kirtaniya Sadahari will happen if we are this humility, if we understand this meaning of humility, this definition of humility. Otherwise, by definition, we will not be able to do Kirtaniya Sadahari. Why? Because suppose I am not humble to the truth. So then I will insert untruth, and that is not Kirtaniya Sadahari. Kirtaniya Sadahari means always preaching about the Hari, making Hari glorified. But if I hide Hari's truth to present something else, that's not Hari Kirtan. That's not Sada Hari Kirtan. It is interrupted because I'm not humble to the truth. I'm sympathizing with the untruth and incorporating some of that untruth inside the preaching of the truth. See how deep this goes? That's how we need to contemplate. We have to really, is it not so helpful, these sessions? Like I am so enlivened by even discussing these things. I'm so enlivened. It is so deep. It clarifies many concepts even for devotees, established devotees, for years, for decades. These words are so sharp, so purifying, so refreshing. Any clinging to untruth is opposed to the principle of humility, born of absolute submission to the truth. Any clinging to untruth. If I cling on to untruth, please save me here, because truth is too hard and it will affect my self-respect in this society. So untruth, I'll take some of your help. I'll be submissive to you. Please, you help me in this. You see what we're doing? That's what it is. We are being submissive to the untruth. We are not being submissive to Krishna. That's not Trinadapi Sunichena. That is us feeding the desire of pratishtha, desire for pratishtha. It means self-aggrandizement, worship. That's not humility. How deep is this Kirtaniya Sadahari verse? Just so perfect. So reading on, those who perpetually serve the truth, with all their faculties and who have no hankering for the trivialities of this world, are necessarily always free from malice, born of competing worldliness. This competing worldliness is matsarata, malice. We are always competing with each other. There's the enviousness that breeds everything, everywhere. So that malice of born of competing, so nirmatsaranam. So those who perpetually serve the truth with all their faculties, with everything that they have, words, body and mind, they, and who have no hankering for the trivialities of this world, all the unimportant things of this world, if you have no hankering for them, are necessarily always free from malice, are always free from envy, malice born of competing worldliness, nirmatsarana. Thus, they are fit to admonish those who are actively engaged in harming themselves. And others by opposing or misrepresenting the truth, for attaining rewards in the shape of a perpetuation of the state of misery and ignorance. Beautiful. So, why is he said like that? Why those who are nirmatsaranam or non-envious are fit to admonish those who are actively engaged in harming themselves and others? By opposing or misrepresenting the truth, for attaining rewards in the shape of a perpetuation of the state of misery and ignorance. Okay, so if I have no hankering for the trivialities of this world, that means na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaya. If I don't want anything in this world, I have no hankering. Na shochati na kangshati. Samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. So those who do not hanker for anything in this world, they are not envious. When do we become envious? When we are fighting with someone else for the same thing. We want something and the other person wants it. Many other people want it. That's what sports competition, political competition, business competition is all about. They want you, the businessmen, they want you as the customer. Now, different people are trying to get you as the customer. So there is a competition among them. Those are enemies of each other because they want to get you. When I say you, means all of us. They want the biggest share of the market. They want to monopolize the market. That's the businessman. Now, say World Cup. World Cup, the cup is one. There are like 20 teams fighting for it. So, envious of each other. I envy you, you envy me. I may praise somebody in an opposing team. And it may look like, wow, that's sportsmanship. Yeah, it is sportsmanship. But I envy him because, or I praise him because I want to be like him, or I want to excel him. I appreciate what he did, but I want to do it better. So it's a veiled envy. It's matsarata. So when we do not have anything to hanker for, a devotee, he does not want anything. So whatever you're doing, I'm not competing with you. So if I'm competing with you for the same thing, I will not be able to say that, hey, you're doing wrong, because I'm also after the same thing. Only when I'm not after what they are after, then I will be really their well-wisher. Then I will be fit to admonish those who are actively engaged in harming themselves and others by opposing or misrepresenting the truth, for attaining rewards in the shape of a perpetuation of the state of misery and ignorance. We are in a state of misery and ignorance, and if we hanker after these material trivialities, our existence in this material world will be perpetuated. It will grow longer and longer. We will be staying here in this material world for longer and longer periods of time. There's no end. So the perpetuation of the state of misery and ignorance will happen if we hanker after these things. So we can admonish, hey, don't do that, wasting your time. I cannot say, for example, I'll give you just an example. I cannot say that cricket is a waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. If I love watching cricket, you see what I'm saying? So if I hanker for something, okay, I may not be an envious person, but if I have a hankering because they are playing the cricket, I can watch it. I want to watch it. So I cannot really say, if I say that, cricket is bad, then if I'm caught watching cricket and people will say, hey, you said cricket was a waste of time, now you're watching cricket. Like, what is this? So I want to be known as a good devotee. And a good devotee with a little bit of liking for cricket, it's okay. I'm watering down the standards. I have hankerings in this world, and therefore I'm not fit to admonish them that this is waste of time. I am not fit to do that because I have a hankering for it. See? So unless we develop, the more and more we develop zero hankering, the more closer we get to zero hankering in the material world, the more uncompromising we will be as a preacher. And the gold standard is zero hankerings in this material world, just for the service of Krishna. We exist here to serve Krishna, nothing else. We are not serving the world. We are not serving the world. If we are serving the world, not their perverted desires. We are serving Krishna to relieve his anxiety for the people. We are just presenting his message uncompromisingly. And Prabhupada did that. And see, uncompromising preaching got him all success. Success does not mean people, money, properties, wealth, numbers game. It's not a numbers game. Success means whether I'm preaching purely or not. Following the order of the spiritual master and preaching it pure not contaminating it with anything else. That is preaching. The method employed by the servant of the good preceptor. Here, the good preceptor, this phrase, good preceptor. You know what Prabhupada's phrase for this would be? Bona fide spiritual master. Preceptor is a spiritual master. Good means here Sadguru. That is actual Sanskrit, Sadguru. And Sadguru in English was translated by Prabhupada as bona fide spiritual master. So when we read Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura's words, we need to read it through Prabhupada, through Prabhupada's teachings. Then we will understand his words. Otherwise, we cannot understand. Good preceptor. Oh, good guy. Good teacher. And he's a good guy. He's a teacher, he's a good guy. No. Bona fide spiritual master. Nobody else. The method employed by the servant of the bona fide spiritual master or the good preceptor for preventing such misrepresentation of the truth is a part and parcel of the truth itself. Okay, very nice. The method employed by the servant of the good preceptor for preventing such misrepresentation of the truth is part and parcel of the truth itself. Beautiful. So, preventing misrepresentation of the truth means to call out deceptions and make them known. So, what is he saying is that to call out the deceptions and the cheating is part and parcel of presenting the truth itself, is non-different from the truth. Pointing out untruth is part of the truth. It's not that truth and untruth are two, independent things. No, untruth is the lack of truth. So, what is the lack of truth and what is not truth is actually part and parcel of the truth. Pointing that out that this is not truth is part of the truth. Because if we don't point it out, untruth will creep in the shape of truth. We should not allow that. That's not service to the truth. So truth should be spoken of Krishna consciousness, and what is not Krishna conscious should also be spelled out so that we don't conflate the two. Conflate the non-Krishna conscious to be Krishna conscious or Krishna conscious to be non-Krishna conscious. No. Ayathavat prajanati, 1831 Bhagavad Gita. So when we can't distinguish between truth and untruth, that is rajasic. That's not sattvic. Sattvic is we should know definitely what is truth and what is untruth. Everything clearly. Clear conception of the truth should be had. And that necessitates for us to spell out the untruth. See? So the method employed by the servant of the good preceptor for preventing such misrepresentation of the truth is a part and parcel of the truth itself. It may not always be pleasing to the diseased susceptibilities of deluded minds and may even be denounced by them as a malicious act with which they are only too familiar. See that? When we, like for example, when I spoke about Sadguru, that he's a rascal, it's a truth and I'll stand by it for eternity. Again, no regrets whatsoever. In fact, if anything, I'll double down, I'll triple down, I'll quadruple down on it, but never back down. So, if me saying that may be considered as a malicious act by his followers or neutral observers, oh, that language was not good, yeah, that's bad. If they say like that, that's fine. May even be denounced by them as a malicious act with which they are only too familiar. When we present the truth and when we expose the untruth, they will not hesitate to direct vile words or even actions against the speakers of the truth. They are malicious. They can't handle it. But they'll say that we have to not be malicious. But they can be malicious. But we are not being malicious. We are just stating the truth, but it appears to be malicious to them. You may say, no, if you think from their point of view, it is only right because they would feel like that. Yes, it is from their point of view, they are justified in what they're doing. Let me tell you one more thing. Ravana was justified. From his point of view, he was justified in what he was doing. Hiranyakashipu was justified. His brother was killed by Vishnu and he had to take revenge. He's justified in his actions. From his point of view, he was right. Yeah, I would not deny from his point of view. What is the damn value of his point of view is our question. Should we empathize with his point of view, or should we present the actual point of view of the truth? That is uncompromising preaching. So reading on, but truthful words from the lips of a loyal and humble servant of Hari possess such beneficent power that all effort to suppress or obstruct those words serves merely to vindicate to impartial minds the necessity of complete submission to the absolute truth as the only cure of the disease of worldliness. Let me read that slowly because I need to wrap my head around what was just read. Okay. Truthful words from the lips of a loyal and humble servant of Hari possess such beneficent power that all effort to suppress or obstruct those words serves merely to vindicate to impartial minds the necessity of complete submission to the absolute truth as the only cure of the disease of worldliness. So, for example, let's take it with an example so that we understand this. Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura fought very hard with the Smartha Brahmanas, the birth-based Brahmanas, the community, Jat Gosai, Jat Brahmana and all this. So, he uncompromisingly preached against it. Now, what he got in return for that? The Smartha Brahmana community, later on you will read in this chapter, they became so indignant that they attacked him and tried to kill him publicly, throw stones at him. It was actually a very, very dangerous situation when they were doing Navadvip Parikrama. It was very dangerous. He could have died. He could have been killed in that thing. And it was very planned, and all the roads were obstructed, and people were throwing stones, and everybody, they were dragging devotees. Devotees got some ribs broken and everything. It was very violent. So they actually wanted to kill Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. They tried more than once, this thing. So when they tried to suppress or obstruct what Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura was doing, that only vindicated those who were sitting on the fence and not knowing who was correct. Or maybe the born Brahmins, they are actually correct. Or maybe the Vaishnavas are correct. But they also have a point. So when there were people who are impartial, who are like sitting on the fence on it, when they see such violent efforts to suppress or obstruct, then those people actually, when this happened, it became a news, viral news in the newspapers. And many people sympathize with the Vaishnavas. Oh wow, this is saintly. They never retaliated. They were just humbly, traveling, and these people were the ones who, so that means they are in the wrong. So it only vindicated to impartial minds the necessity of complete submission to the absolute truth as the only cure of the disease of worldliness. So if anybody obstructs us, like for example, we are not obstructing. We don't obstruct people from watching Sadhguru or something, but we will say he's a rascal. And we will prove with full evidence that he's a rascal, or any such rascal who misrepresents dharma. So we will prove it. People may not like it and all that, but we have to exercise patience and not back down just because we are becoming unpopular. No. In fact, I think we already said that. We read that part where, I think in the previous session, where he said we want 100 more. I don't know whether we have not yet come to that part. So we want 100 times more difficulties so that we will have 100 times more strength to face such difficulties and thousands of times more enthusiasm to continue our service to Krishna. So that's how Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura saw it. So the more people obstruct us, the more the impartial viewer will see, oh wow, okay, they're attacking them. They don't have a good argument to give. So they are now taking to physical violence. Oh, so that means their argument was better. Okay, now I understand. Yeah, they don't have an answer to that argument. Yes, now I agree. So it actually vindicates the efforts of the devotees. That means it supports what the Vaishnavas are doing. Yeah, they are right, actually right. Until then, there was a debate 50-50. Now I'm 90% convinced here. I want to go with the Vaishnavas. So that's the thing. So what he's saying is the truthful words from the lips of a loyal and humble servant of Hari possess such beneficent power that all efforts to suppress or obstruct those words serves merely to vindicate to impartial minds the necessity of complete submission to the absolute truth as the only cure of the disease of worldliness. This worldliness, which is characterized by matsarata, envy, which the people on the side of the untruth will definitely show towards the preachers of the truth. Now, when we say that Sadguru is a rascal, we are not envious of him. We don't want his position. We don't like his position, that he's cheating all these people. No. We are not envious of him. But we're just stating the fact that he's a rascal. That's all it is. We just want to speak the truth. People may think that our when we say these things, it is only to become a sensation and viral, and they get some adrenaline rush when they attack someone and get some popularity on YouTube and stuff like that. No, that's not what we're after. We don't care. We absolutely don't care. But we just want the truth to be known. And if even one person understands it, that's a great success. We want to save people. His hashtag is save soil in the Kaveri and all that. So we say, yeah, you save soil. Good job. But don't try to save soul. Save soul hashtag, that is ours. Don't try to misrepresent the mission of saving soul, but you stay with your save soil mission. That you can keep. We'll give you all credit for that. You're doing a good job. Keep to that. Because earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, then the soul. You may save the soil, the earth, but we are saving the soul. So it's a vast difference. Just acknowledge it, don't conflate the two, and stay in your lanes, and it'll be okay. That's what we say. Or you can upgrade yourself from save soil to save soul by actually becoming a devotee. You have an option. Everybody can become a devotee. So we want that. Otherwise, if you don't want, then don't misrepresent. Keep to your save soil. Humility employed in unambiguous service. I like the phrase unambiguous service. Ambiguous service, like what? Ambiguous service. Is he serving Krishna or not serving Krishna? Actually, that is the fact. When I'm trying to pander to the world, am I serving Krishna or not? Ambiguous. That's ambiguous. Unambiguous service. That means clearly I'm serving Krishna. I'm not interested in the world at all. See how Important phrase that is. Humility employed in unambiguous service to the absolute truth is necessarily and qualitatively different from its perverted prototype practiced by cunning people for worldly gain. Yeah. What is that perverted prototype of humility? In that, there is no actual humility, and they want to be respected by the people. It's actually, if I am humble before you, Hare Krishna, yes, yes, yes. If I just do that, I may appear in the visuals, in the frame of the camera or in your visual retina, I appear to be very humble. On your retina, on the camera, yeah, on screen, I look humble. Vareva, what a humble devotee. I may look. Where is my submission though? To the people. I am not preaching the straight truth. So my submission is not to Krishna or to the parampara, who have vehemently stood for the truth against all odds. And we are taking a stance opposite to them. Where is the humility? So if we speak the truth, not necessarily to rile up people, but people may get riled up. Some people may get riled up when the truth is spoken. But irrespective of that, if we just speak the truth, then that is actual humility. Even if people are dissatisfied with me, because I stood for the message of Krishna. Whereas the perverted prototype of humility, where I show a humility, but I'm actually not humble, I not only am not humble to the truth, to Krishna, to the parampara, but even materially, I want the praise of others. Where is the humility? I want people to respect me. I want people to like me. Where is the humility? So that's why it is said, humility employed in unambiguous service to the absolute truth is necessarily and qualitatively different from its perverted prototype, practiced by cunning people for worldly gain. I want janata, na dhanam, na janam. But if I want, that's why Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura said, speak not to preach the janata, but to speak to please Janardhan. Speak not to please Janata, but to please Janardhan. Janardhan is another name of Krishna for those who do not know. So we should not speak to please the people, but to please Krishna. And Krishna, if he is pleased, then the interested people, the sincere people will get pleased and they will join. The professors of pseudo humility, means those who profess pseudo humility, have reason to fear the preaching of Hari's servant. One of whose duties is to expose the enormous possibility of mischief inherent in various forms of so-called spiritual conduct when they are prostituted for serving the untruth. Wow. His words are just always so penetrating. Very dense, very, very dense. The professors of pseudo-humility. What is a professor of pseudo-humility? Those who profess, those who adopt pseudo-humility have reason to fear the preaching of Hari's servant. They fear the preaching of the Hari's servant, the real preacher, who is actually humble. Because one of his duties is to expose the enormous possibility, not possibility, enormous possibility of mischief inherent in various forms of so-called spiritual conduct when they are prostituted for serving the untruth. See, but what is prostitution? When it is unfaithfully used. So, humility, like for example, what is a prostitute? A woman who is as if loving, but she's not loving. She's just, with any man, she will be the same. And she has no chastity. So prostitution is a lack of chastity. Humility, tolerance, everything is to serve the purpose of the truth. You see this sentence here? Humility implies perfect submission to the truth and no sympathy for untruth. So our chaste wife, she is perfectly submitted to the husband. Submission is the word. Perfect submission to the husband is a chaste wife. So an unchaste wife, she's not submitted to the husband. So similarly, our humility, if it is not meant for the truth, for Krishna, and Krishna's philosophy, which is the truth, then we are prostituting that humility for serving the untruth. Where this fake humility is prostitution of humility. That's what he's saying. And such prostitution of humility, the people who are the professors of pseudo humility, they fear the real humble person. They fear the real humble person because he is humble to the truth and he will expose everything that is non-truth. Because what is you see this sentence here, the person who is actually humble, what he will do, the method employed by the servant of the good preceptor or bona fide spiritual master for preventing such misrepresentation of the truth. So he prevents the misrepresentation of truth. He does not allow truth to be misrepresented by pseudo humble professors, pseudo professors of humility and dharma. He never allows them a chance because he exposes them. And he is the actual humble servant of the parampara and Krishna. And that is the part and parcel of the truth itself. So because he is humble to the truth, he will expose the untruth. And in that, this pseudo humble person also will be exposed. So therefore he fears, because his prestige is at stake. And when I worry about my prestige, where is my humility? There's no humility if I worry for my prestige. So that is prostitution of humility. See how dense, how deep he thinks and is able to convey such deep thoughts in words. As His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktisiddhānta Swami Prabhupada later wrote, no compromise. Ramakrishna, avatars, yogis, everyone was enemy to Guru Maharaj. Everyone was enemy to Guru Maharaj. He never compromised. Some God brothers, Prabhupada's God brothers, complained that this preaching was a chopping technique and it would not be successful. But we have seen that those who criticized fell down. And where did he write this? It's in Letters from Srila Prabhupada, 4th volume, 2313th page. But this Letters from Srila Prabhupada is actually a whole, I think, series of books. But the exact letter, we need to find out. We just can do a folio search on this one. But you see, Prabhupada famously said this, no compromise, and those who criticized his chopping technique, those who criticized it fell down. Such a contentious stand was certainly at odds with the ecumenic current of the world and could not be substantiated merely by polite speeches. What is this ecumenic current? Ecumenism means the unification of all different ideologies, like harmony, exists in harmony. Let's find the dictionary meaning of it. Look up ecumenic. Okay, it's too small for some of you, I think. Many of you. I'll just read it. Ecumenism, also called interdenominationalism or ecumenicalism. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Is the concept and principle that Christians who belong to different Christian denominations and theological traditions should work together to develop closer relationships among their churches and promote Christian unity. Oh, never mind your Pentecostal, your Orthodox, your Catholic, your Protestant, your whatever all different sects of Christianity there are. We're all Christians. Let's unite as Christians. Ecumenism. Similarly, there are some novice devotees, Hare Krishna devotees, they think, oh, you people are Ritviks and they are Guru, but after all, we're all after Krishna. So, we should, I think, forget these differences and work with unity. That's ecumenism. It's not going to work. Because we cannot go to Krishna without actually serving the pure devotee. And if the pure devotee is displeased, we have no place in Krishna consciousness. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasadaha, yasya aprasadan nagatih kutopi. So, ecumenism doesn't work. We either follow the instruction of the spiritual master or we don't. Separating the paddy from the husk, separating the rice from the husk. So we have to do that. So, so with that understanding, what is ecumenism we know now. So such a contentious stand. What is a contentious stand? That only Krishna consciousness and nothing else was certainly at odds with the ecumenic current of the world. So in the world, they want harmony, religious harmony, racial harmony. So let's actually, because it's not possible. It's just not possible. It's a good utopian idea. It's not possible. Because when we have differences of opinion like that, unless we converge with one center of Krishna, like Prabhupada many times gives that example of the stone, if you drop it in still water of a lake, it will start to produce ripples. And the ripples are concentric. What is a concentric? Having a single center. So if there are circles with single center, all such centers are having one center, so they're concentric. And concentric circles will never clash. Never will they clash. But if suppose one stone was dropped here and another stone is dropped there, another stone is dropped there, 10,000 stones are dropped. Each such drop of stone, when I say drop, it's not a drop of water, the drop of the stone will produce a set of concentric ripples in the water. And all such ripples expand, and from every center it expands, and they will clash, and there's unlimited clashes. So if we try for ecumenism with different centers, polycentric unity, it's not going to happen. There will be chaos, there will be strife, there will be conflict. But in order for actual peace, actual agreement, actual harmony, there has to be a single center. There's no other two ways about it. It's just one way about it, and that is single center. And you can have concentric circles, unlimited numbers of them, none of them will clash. So such a contentious stand was certainly at odds with the ecumenic current of the world and could not be substantiated merely by polite speeches. The extent of prevalent religious distortion necessitated a fittingly forceful response. So if we give polite speeches, because there are so many kinds of people and we have to kind of not agitate them, if you think like that. As earlier we have read today that Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura was concerned more with precision than politeness. He was concerned with being precise than being polite. So if we have to do polite speeches, then we cannot attack anything, or we cannot say that what Krishna said is the only way. Mamekam sharanam vraja. We cannot say that. So that will allow other people to everybody have their own opinions, and I'll be polite to them so that I won't agitate them. Okay, I won't agitate them, but I'm not speaking the truth. And in the end, everybody will be agitated, because this material world is by nature agitating. And as long as they don't surrender to Krishna, they will remain in the material world and be agitated. So what am I trying to achieve by being ecumenistic? So the extent of prevalent religious distortion, the magnitude of it, the sheer magnitude of religious distortion necessitated a fittingly forceful response. And that has only exacerbated now. Because over time, the social media, especially so, has enabled the proliferation of untruth in its myriad ways all over the world. And now we have to fight a much bigger battle. And we have to be fittingly forceful as well. We have to call out everything that is cheating in the name of religion. So the extent, the sheer magnitude of the prevalent religious distortion necessitated a fittingly forceful response. Thus, Srila Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī displayed no qualms about transgressing hallowed social norms. Hallowed means greatly considered as sacred, as widely accepted social norms. He transgressed them by openly criticizing venerated religious leaders, and remained unruffled at being deemed profane by those concerned more with a sham of refined manners than with truth. So people, what is the time now? Wow, 10 o'clock. Okay. I think, I don't know. It will take some time for me to explain this paragraph even. I think I will have to stop it for today. So just after the Prabhupada's quote is where we should start then. We already kind of spoke on the first line, the two sentences. And the rest of it, we will address tomorrow evening. So we will see you there. And I'll go through the comments and questions right now because it's already 10 o'clock here. It's late. So I will have to stop there. I'm sorry. 10:26 is quoted here. Okay, let me go to the Vedas. Okay, here we are. What? Ten to 26. Satyavratam. Satyavratam is very important. Satyavratam satyaparam trisatyam satyasya yonim nihitam cha satye satyasya satyam rita satyanetram satyatmakam tvam sharanam prapannaha. Satyavratam means, here it is mentioned, the personality of Godhead who never deviates from his vow of truthfulness. From his vow, I mean, his vow is to ensure that his devotee will never perish and all of that. But also, we being Satyavrata means we have to take a vow of being truthful. And truthful means the supreme truth, the absolute truth. We have to be truthful there. And sometimes we may have to adopt untruth to serve the absolute truth. A relative untruth or a relative truth, whatever serves the absolute truth, we need to serve the absolute truth, whatever it takes to serve the absolute truth. So Satyavratam is there. I'll give you an example. An incident happened in Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura's life, and I think we have faced this many times. What happened was, there was this devotee, a serious devotee, and he was a grihastha. He was working in some another town, and he came to Kolkata to see Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura and associate with him. And he associated with 1 or 2 days, and then he said, okay, my leave is finished, I have to go back. Then Bhaktisiddhānta, but I really want to stay, he said. I I did not think that it would be so ecstatic and so meaningful here. I just applied for leave for 2 days and 3 days, whatever. I have to go back to work, so I have to wait for another day to come. Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura said to him, "No, you give a medical report condition that you're sick, and stay here for longer. Stay here for a month or something. Do something and convince your boss." Then he was okay. He was okay. I'll do that. There was another person who's a karmi who overheard this. When he was saying this, he said it in the vicinity of others. So he was very disturbed. What? Being a sadhu, you are asking him to speak a lie? This is atrocious. This is so bad. I did not expect this behavior from you. And he stormed off the temple. And Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura was very disturbed. And he fasted. He did not eat. And the whole temple became very morose. Everybody was morose. So then, one of the Swamijis, one of his disciples, who was a sannyasi, he went out for some, bhiksha and all that, collections, and he came back to the temple. Came back to the temple and saw the whole temple was in a morose, somber situation. He was saying, "What happened?" And then he found out. Then he knew that person. He went to that house of the person. He said, he went to the house and he said, "Oh, you have come. Oh, what happened?" "No, I want to ask you a question. See, if suppose a robber comes now to the house, just like I came now, if a robber comes and if your wife is wearing all jewelry, would you bring your wife out? Would you say that your wife is here with all the jewelry on her, or would you show where the jewelry is hidden in your house? Would you be honest about that?" He said, "Of course not." Then he explained, "This is the reason. Why are you not being honest? Because you have to save your wife, right? And you have to save your belongings as well. What is precious you need to save, right?" He said, "Yes." Then he said, similarly, the most precious thing in this world is Harikatha, Krishna Katha. The association of sadhu is the most precious thing in this universe. And we need to protect that. We need to protect that. And for that, we can tell lies. What is the harm in telling lies in order to protect the highest truth? He said, "Yes, I understand. Very well said." Then please come, because my Guru Maharaj is very much disturbed by what you said, and he has been fasting, and the whole temple is very morose now. Then he came back. So that gentleman came with this sannyasi and came back to the temple and fell prostrate on the ground, and then gave him some fruits and everything, and gave some donation and said, "I'm very, very sorry. I did not understand, but your disciple made me understand the truth of the matter. I should not have passed such a judgment and such a comment. Please excuse me." And then Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura gracefully accepted and excused him, and everything was all right. So you see, Satyavratam. What Satya are we? Of course, even that does not mean we do anything and everything in the name of Krishna. No, we should be steadfast in the absolute truth. And in the material concept also, in the material world also, we have to be truthful. But sometimes some untruths, some white lies have to be told in order to preserve the absolute truth. And in such cases, those lies are fine. So, "Oh, I'm sick and all that." That's fine. You want to hear Harikatha and you want to be in association of devotees. That's good. That's the most important thing. If I'm so, that's why it is said, Harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna. If I do very expertly material activities, but if I miss the real point of spiritual activity, which is the goal of human life, Krishna consciousness, I have missed the boat. I have missed completely the point of human life even. I have been truthfully serving untruth instead of untruthfully serving the truth. What have I done? I'm truthfully serving untruth instead of serving the truth, whether truthfully or untruthfully. I have chosen between untruth and truth. I have chosen untruth. Okay. Actually, we have not gone to this translation is a bit different. The demigods prayed, "O Lord, you never deviate from your vow, which is always perfect, because whatever you decide is perfectly correct and cannot be stopped by anyone." Who can oppose what the Lord wants to do? So if He wants to do something, it is Satya. There cannot be an untruth in the Lord. Whatever He wants to do, He will do. When we say we want to do something, we have to make sure that we do it. But when the Lord thinks of doing something, nobody can stop Him from doing. Who's there to? What is the force that can stop Him from doing anything that He wants to do? Nothing. So whatever He wants to do, it will always be Satyavrata. He will always, His actions will follow His word. Being present in the three phases of cosmic manifestation, creation, maintenance, and annihilation, you are the supreme truth. Indeed, unless one is completely truthful, one cannot achieve your favor, which therefore cannot be achieved by hypocrites. You are the active principle, the real truth in all the ingredients of creation, and therefore you are known as Antaryami, the inner force. You are equal to everyone, and your instructions apply for everyone for all time. You are the beginning of all truth. Therefore, offering our obeisances, we surrender unto you. Kindly give us protection. This is a prayer by the demigods to Krishna. So, unless one is completely truthful, one cannot achieve Krishna's favor, which is not available to the hypocrites. Okay, so going on. Sangatyago vidurena bhagavad vimukhair janay. So there's a verse, this is quoted from Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. Sangatyago vidurena bhagavad vimukhair janay. So we should keep far away from those who are non-devotees. They will give up their association and stay far away. Where do I find this document? Where is the exact title? What is the exact title? Okay, the exact title is Sri Bhaktisiddhānta Vaibhava. I'm sorry, I was supposed to put a link to in the description last session. I did not. Sri Bhaktisiddhānta Vaibhava. I think krishnapath.org might have this, maybe. PDF you can search for. I have the physical book as well. I prefer reading from the book. This one. Bhaktisiddhānta Vaibhava. This is volume 1. So, but yeah, there's PDF. I'll try to put the link. I'll keep forgetting that. Nityananda Prabhu is described as Akrodha Paramananda. Yes, Nityananda Ram. So, he's not Krodha, but he became Krodhit when he saw Shivananda Sena. But actually, that was a test of his Shivananda's devotion. So, when Krishna shows such seeming harshness, or when we go through harsh situations in our service, we should understand that Krishna has some plan behind it. So now, because of that situation, Shivananda Sena's devotion is clearly on display for all time. You can really understand what his mind and heart is made of. So the worst situations bring out the best in us, and Krishna sometimes engineers such situations even for his best devotees, so that people can see what is the character of the devotees. All right. So next, Madhya 747. To protect the Brahmana, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised him to chant Hare Krishna incessantly. By doing so, he would never become unnecessarily proud. Actually, it's a whole story where he was relieved by the Lord, relieved from his disease of leprosy, and then he thought, "Oh, I've become now proud because I was cured." And instead of seeing it as Krishna's blessing, he saw it as a potential curse. And you may think, "Oh, that is very pessimistic. What is this? This is Krishna has blessed him, and still he." The story is that is Brahmana, leper Brahmana. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu touched him, and leprosy was gone, and then he became worried now. When I had leprosy, I was humbly praying to the Lord and just wanting to become His servant. And now this leprosy is cured. The Lord has shown me favor, and now I may become proud that I've achieved the favor of the Lord, and I may become proud of that. Let me not be hurt by that pride. Let me not be influenced by such pride. I was very worried. So a benediction from Krishna. Similarly, Madhavendra Puri, when the Kshir Chora Gopinath hid for him the Kshir sweet, then he became very worried that, oh, now everybody will see me as a great saint and all that. I'll get undue attention. He just ran away one night from the village so that nobody will know him. So you see, this is how great devotees think, and that's how we should think. Why such actions of devotees are recorded? So that we learn how to think. Oh, Krishna did this for me. I was so happy. I really got, it's Krishna is so kind upon me. Yeah, that's good. Krishna is kind. Krishna is always kind. But if I'm not watchful, it can turn into a curse very quickly. So I have to not have pride. Oh, I'm a great devotee. Krishna listened to me. Krishna answered my prayers. All that is pratishta. All that is weeds. So we'll be very careful that's why when people praise us, we should take it as poison. Oh, whoa, this is not good. Oh, Prabhu, you gave such a nice class. You sang so well. I like your voice. I like your mridanga playing. I like how you cook, Prabhu. You cook wonderfully. Oh, your deity is so wonderful, so beautiful. All that is potential curse. Immediately I have to bring and give up and offer such praise to the lotus feet of my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. And immediately, instinctively, I have to do that. And when I'm on my own, I should contemplate on why it is actually, or why that praise should go to Prabhupada. And only he deserves that, and all the devotees deserve that, Krishna deserves that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, except me. Why it is so? I should contemplate, I should reason out. So if anybody asks, so my saying, oh, it all because of Prabhupada's mercy, Krishna's mercy, I should not just say it for the sake of saying it. I should say it while meaning it, while understanding it, realizing it. I have already thoroughly contemplated it. So even if I have not contemplated on it, even if I had just said it out of, courtesy, I should quickly, when I am having the alone time, the earliest alone time I may have to myself, immediately I should contemplate on that. I should contemplate why. I have said this. I should say that it is all because of Prabhupada's mercy, but I now want to honestly convince myself even why it is Prabhupada's mercy. Because there should not be a distance between my words and my thoughts. There should be no distance. They should be exactly the same. They should not be different. That is duplicity. I should not have that. I should always seek congruity between my words and thoughts. Not the other way around. Not that, oh, my thought is having anger towards him and I don't want to be duplicitous, so I will actually show physical anger towards him by beating him or shouting at him, because I'm a very straightforward person. I don't hide my feelings. I'm an honest, transparent, straightforward person. We may prep up that as a big virtue. It's somewhat of a virtue, but honestly insignificant, because it is not in the service of our improvement in Krishna consciousness. It is not in the service of the truth, the absolute truth. Because by offending a devotee, yes, I am being honest. My words and actions, there's complete congruity. Yes, I'm not having an incongruity between them, no distance between them. But to where? To which direction I'm going? By offending devotees, by just being unhinged, that will take me down. So I should say the right things, Krishna conscious things, even if I have not realized it yet. But then, at this earliest available time, I should contemplate on it. And next time I say, I actually should say this with conviction that yes, I was thinking in this way, I'm wrong. So in this way, we improve. We should work towards our improvement, not that, oh, I don't want any gap between my words and thoughts. Whatever filth is there in my mind, let me just say it out and do it out, and let there be no gap. There should be cleansing, atma snapanam. It has to purify us, not contaminate us and contaminate the whole world. So I should hold up my mental diarrhea and try to treat it first. Even if my mind is going bonkers, I should say the right thing. Even if I don't feel like it, say the right thing first and get your mind to accept those words really, because that's the right thing to do. And that's how we agree, and that's how we improve, sorry. And that's how the examples of acharyas and Krishna himself are there. So I should covet such behavior. So externally I said it, but I should not be proud that, oh, I did the right thing by saying the right thing. No. Am I thinking the right thing? I don't think so. Let me actually work on my thinking. Okay, let me actually ruminate on it. Let me contemplate on it. And let me come to terms in my mind with those words. That's what preaching is all about. Me doing this class now is not trying to tell you what we should be doing. No, it is telling myself what we should be doing, what I should be doing. It helps when I share it with others because it's the message of the Acharya, and I'm getting purified, you're getting purified, everybody's getting purified by the correct thought. All right, so next. Yes, 12.135 purport, Madhya of Chaitanya Charitamrita. The Gundicha margin, the compromise, and that whole thing is mentioned in the comment section here. Yeah, so how deception comes and creeps in, and therefore the dust needs to be thoroughly be kept away. The subtle desire for fruitive activity again comes into being within the heart. That's true. I wanted to go there earlier in the class because I was already taking a lot of time. But yeah. Who are Mayavadis? Those who are saying I'm disciple of Prabhupada but not following any Siksha Gurus who are following Prabhupada is also Mayavadi. Mayavadi means those who consider impersonal, but the Lord is impersonal. Now, within the domain of devotional service, when we may have disagreement in how we follow our spiritual master, if we don't associate with Siksha Gurus who are following Prabhupada, yeah, that is pride. That is pride. We think that I don't need. So that is pride. It's not exactly Mayavadi, but it's just imperfect novice way of devotional service, a neophyte who does not know how to behave and how to actually associate with devotees and how not to associate with non-devotees. Who's a non-devotee? Who's a devotee? He muddles it all up and he doesn't know how to behave. So that is a neophyte behavior, not exactly Mayavadi per se. Yes. Sadguru is like the buzzards and herons and crows. Harrison Matthew. What is it? Hare Krishna Tattvavit Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Please accept my obeisances too, Prabhu. All glories to our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. This is an important question I want to ask, and it's asked by someone I know. And my intention is to be knowledgeable to provide a rebuttal. In one of your wisdom bites, you mentioned about a 200-year gap between Narottam Das Thakur and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and I understand that. This one person is asking a question: why each of our 5 spiritual... What? Your message got truncated, and I cannot see the full thing. This one person is asking a question: why each of our 5 spiritual masters? I don't know. Your question was not... It's truncated there. I'm sorry, I can't answer that. Maybe you can mention that in another comment, the remaining part of it, so that I can understand it. Thank you for that. Richa. I think his hashtag Save Soil also had some controversy, given Isha Foundation was built on ecologically sensitive land. It was on news, I think. Oh. Okay, so even that was not done properly. Okay. Anyway, if he has any idea of how to save the earth, I mean, earth means the soil, it's good. I mean, we don't say no. But don't come into the save soul, especially. And you know, once we are devotees, then we will automatically take care of our environment. We don't have to extraneously go for these kind of movements of save the earth, save the water, because water is also like Yamuna. You see how industrial waste and everything, pollutants, everything are sent into the Yamuna, and everything is polluted. Air is polluted. So some people are into air. So, you know, Bhumi, Apa, Anala, forest fires. In America, there are forest fires going on. Some of them are man-made forest fires, to be honest. Well, now we know what they're doing. That's one thing. So fire, air pollution, ether, there's noise pollution. And all kinds of activities will be automatically served. All kinds of movements will be served if we serve Krishna. So we should just be Krishna conscious. Everything will automatically happen. We will have, just like Prabhupada gave the example, when a mother loves the child. Now the child has many, many toys. Now all those toys, the mother is not interested in the toys, but the mother is interested in the child. So she keeps all the toys of the child nicely and in a baskets or whatever, and keep them tidy. If the lady did not have a child, and if she was just playing with those toys and kept them in the baskets nicely, we would think she's a mentally off person. So directly she has no relationship with the toys, but she keeps them nicely nonetheless, because they belong to the child, and she loves the child, and the child is attached to those toys. So everything that the child is attached to also becomes important to her. So similarly, we have to become attached to Krishna. And because everything is related to Krishna, we will automatically take care of everything nicely. Whether it's the earth, whether it's the water, whether it's the fire, whether it's the air, whether it's the ether, everything will be taken care of nicely. Or whether it's the mind, psychologically, how the people are there, stress and everything. Intellectually, everything, and the soul proper, everything will be served automatically if we take to Krishna consciousness. We don't need a separate movement called save soil, save water, save fire, save air, save sound, or whatever, ether. We don't need such things, movements. We just need to become save soul by becoming Krishna conscious. We have to have that movement, and everything else will automatically fall in place. Okay, that lecture was where Prabhupada said, anybody who criticized the chopping technique of my Guru Maharaj fell down. That is a letter to apparently Karandhar Prabhu from Bhaktisiddhānta Manor. Raj Malviya is asking, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I've joined just now near to my home. There is one new ISKCON opened at ISKCON RT Nagar in Bangalore. I visited the temple twice. And I would like to do their seva on Sundays, but I don't like the one thing that they do not follow Ritvik system. So my question is that should I join such association or not? There's no easy answer. It's, when you're not strong, when you go there and associate, you're not just doing service, you're cultivating friendships. Preeti Lakshanam is happening. So we need to see with whom we are cultivating Preeti Lakshanam. And if we develop deep relationships with people, then we might feel obliged. And a classic example of that is Bhishmadev, who is a Mahajan nonetheless, but because of his association with Duryodhan, because he ate the food of Duryodhan's place. So basically, he felt obliged to Duryodhan because Duryodhan maintained him. Although he knew Duryodhan was wrong, but he had to fight on behalf of Duryodhan in the war against the Pandavas, whom he also knew to be devotees. So he was not blinded by the influence of Duryodhan that, oh, Duryodhan is correct. So there are two things that can happen. When you're in the association of wrong people or an act of impropriety, okay. Firstly, let's go here. Let's see what the 10:44:10. Okay. न सभां प्रविशेत् प्राज्ञः सभ्य दोषान् अनुस्मरन् अब्रुवन् विब्रुवन्नज्ञो नरः किल्बिषमश्नुते. A wise person should not enter an assembly if he knows the participants there are committing acts of impropriety. And if having entered such an assembly, he fails to speak the truth, speaks falsely, or pleads ignorance, he will certainly incur sin. So if you go there, then you have to kind of speak the truth. And if you can't, two things may happen. You may be influenced by their thought. After some time, you'll think, you know what? Although they're not following the Ritvik system, they're also nice people only. We don't deny. All are nice. They're misled. They could have been saved if they can just take Prabhupada as a guru. So, but what happens is when we're not strong, and it can happen to anyone, as strong as Bhishmadev, he knew, he was not influenced, he was not blinded by this influence of Duryodhan saying, oh, Duryodhan is only right, Pandavas are wrong. Although he associated with Duryodhan, he was smart enough, being a Mahajan, to know that Duryodhan was wrong. Even then, he was obliged to fight for Duryodhan, just because he was maintained by them. So because there is a Preeti Lakshanam that happened between him and Duryodhan, because of long association, and then, so, what is that? Dadati pratigrahanate guhyamakhyate prichhati bhunkte bhojayate chaiva shadvidham Preeti Lakshanam. Nectar of Instruction says, Upadeshamrita, Rupa Goswami is teaching us that if we exchange gifts and give and take gifts, or because the devotees may give you something, oh, here is a mala from the Lord, or something. What they're doing is correct, but the thing is, now your preeti for them will increase, and over time you'll be obliged when they say, and you'll develop respect, and that's human nature. And when they say that you got to now you take initiation, you don't feel like disagreeing, even though you know what the truth is. You can either get completely influenced by them and say, yeah, actually, Guru system is only good. See, so many devotees are coming from the Guru system, so it must be good. the nice temples they have. Okay, that's good. So that means they're good. So we can get convinced like that, or we can remain unconvinced and still be in their association, but still we may feel obliged. That is a danger. When we hear classes there, when we do services with them, when we laugh with them, when we build camaraderie with them, and Preeti Lakshanam happens. There will be Preeti, there will be bonding with them. And then when they suggest initiation, when I say no, when they will turn against us, which they will, at that time we will feel all bad about it. Oh, he was my friend, I treated him like a friend, and just one thing I said, and then he's just completely like against me, or like asking everybody to not associate with me, everything, all the friendship was forgotten. Because they will very sternly, very firmly remain on their stance of no, ISKCON Guru system, not Ritvik. So at one point, it will reach a point where there will be a showdown. Either you change him, or he will change you, or you will just part ways and then go in your own direction. So it's not a clear answer, and we don't have a ISKM there. And so, what can I say? It's a difficult situation, what to suggest. But I suggest, for the classes at least, you hear online or ISKM classes. And services, if you want to do there, if you want to take darshan, you can visit. You just have to be careful. You just have to be very careful and be very, very convinced. And if you actually strike conversation about this topic, you should try to convince them. And of course, that would mean they will probably expel you from the temple, or not give you services, or they may limit your access in the temple, all of that. And we should be prepared. In fact, if we have learned anything from today's session, it's just to speak the truth unbiasedly and stay on the side of the truth and not kowtow to the untruth. And in that way, whatever, and if we accept also, he said, we have to accept full responsibility and all the consequences of such protest. So whatever may happen. So maybe one day you can start a center there. You can learn some things there and start a center there, or help start. Or we have some devotees in Bangalore. Maybe you can connect with them. We have some of our ISKM devotees. Not exactly a center there yet, but we have some loose affiliation with devotees there. We're waiting for opportune moments to actually start something, but it'll take time. It'll take time to train people up. But in the absence of that, if you want to do some service there, well, there can be other services also, which you can do online for ISKM. If you contact our devotees, then maybe we can help. Point you to where you can do some service maybe online. But I understand actually going to the temple and doing book distribution or something like that would also enliven a lot. And some of our devotees are already doing it, ISKM devotees, independently from ISKCON temples. You may want to join with them and see how we can partner and get it going somehow. At least work towards the groundwork, do the groundwork, and then cooperate with the devotees there. That's what I can suggest. It's not an easy answer, because association is very necessary. But association means where you can actually discuss deeply and have deep conversations without anything holding back. That kind of devotee association you need to have, who can really help you. Not that you should always fear the devotee association. Oh, what if I tell too much? Then they say this and that, and they'll ask me to take initiation there and stuff. So you should not. That kind of association is not very conducive. Isn't that what Amogli Das said, that Ritviks are Mayavadis? Yeah, they say we worship a guru with no form. Just in the murti, but physically not there. So no form. So we are Mayavadis, impersonal. We cannot have personal dealings with Prabhupada, so we are impersonal. So we are Mayavadis. Okay, so here is the question. Okay, Harrison Matthew. There's one person is asking a question, why each of our 5 spiritual masters listed in our Sampradaya are not Diksha Guru chain, meaning Gaur Kishore Babaji was not initiated by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he was saying Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura took initiation from the photo of Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj after 2 years post the disappearance. No. Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura was initiated by Gaur Kishore Babaji in his physical presence. What he took was the sannyas initiation from Gaur Kishore Babaji's photo after his disappearance. The sannyas he took. But the initiation was done in his presence. Okay. Going forward. This person also said that Lalita Prasad Sampradaya, the son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, was the correct line and not Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Sampradaya. For me, Srila Prabhupada's words are supreme truth, and this reasoning does not matter, as any word that emanates from his lotus mouth are the supreme truth, no question, full stop. Okay, this is a very important contention. And this is how the Gaudiya Math precisely became disintegrated. Lalita Prasad, who is another son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he did not understand the greatness of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Only Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura really understood the mood and the mission of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And although his means were different from that of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they were fully blessed by the mercy of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And we can see the proof in the pudding. You can see how pure devotional service from Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura to Prabhupada and then now to us, it is spreading. Where is Lalita Prasad's parampara? Lalita Prasad Prabhu's parampara. Where is that? How much have they preached? How much? What is, if they say that, Lalita Prasad is the correct one, but there are others who say the whole thing is wrong. Those who are born in Brahmana families, those Vaishnavas, they are actually bona fide. There are some who are saying like that, Jat Gosai. So it's definitely wrong. Don't associate with those people. And Prabhupada is the world Acharya. As you said, whatever he says is supreme truth. If Prabhupada does not agree with Lalita Prasad, and you agree with Lalita Prasad, then you are against Prabhupada, who is the Acharya of the Kali Yuga, to purify the entire world, blessed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with the very incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction. Okay? That the words of such a person matter way more than somebody who is an obscure personality. I mean, with all due respect, because he's the son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and brother of Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, and for that reason, he might definitely get the grace of Krishna. I'm nobody to comment on him. But objectively, we have to stand for our Sampradaya. We have to stand for Prabhupada, we have to stand for Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, and we have to stand for Bhaktivinoda Thakur and the entire parampara. So, if something is a contentious argument, no matter who it is, we have to oppose that. And for that reason, we will oppose that ideology that Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura is not bona fide. Complete crap. It's unfortunate that they think like that, but we cannot subscribe to that. The proof is in the pudding, and we can see how clear Vastu Tattva Jnana hoy Kripa te Praman. The evidence of mercy, if we are not connected in the parampara proper, we will not receive the mercy. How we know we receive the mercy? Vastu Tattva Jnana hoy Kripa te Praman. Are we getting clarified in our understanding of Krishna consciousness and Guru Tattva, in Krishna Tattva, in Shakti Tattva, and everything, disciple, Guru, everything, every subject of Krishna consciousness? Am I becoming more and more clear in my conceptions? That is the evidence of mercy. If there is some, like for example, if we have to please the masses, no, like Lalita Prasad Thakur was against Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur's abrasive method of preaching and institutionalized Vaishnavism. He was against all of this. But Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur defended all that positions in his writings. And in person, they dealt with each other cordially. but they hated each other. In the sense, Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura won't hate anyone, but Lalita Prasad was envious of Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura and he did not agree with Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. And therefore, we have to understand all of these points. He had many points of contention with Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. Like, for example, he said that, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that Grihastha ashram is the safest ashram for devotees. He said like that. And Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura was very much advocating for getting people out of their homes and then making them brahmacharis and eventually sannyasis or whatever. So he was very much like that. So he was saying, see, even in this, everything he had a disagreement with Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī, everything. So he said, you see, how can he, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Grihastha ashram is the safest ashram, and here he is riling people and getting them out of homes and getting them into brahmacharis and sannyasis who can easily fall down. And you can see some of his sannyasis have fallen down. You see, that's why it's not stable thing. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur said Grihastha ashram is good. Now he can go on arguing. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur said Grihastha ashram is better because he did not want, what he was dealing with in his time was a society where Vaishnavism was like a, sex religion, illicit sex religion. So to get people out of that and make them lead respectable lives instead of taking the Babaji nonsense. Babaji is not nonsense, but they wearing the dress of Babaji and then doing nonsense, that is nonsense. So instead of all that nonsense, you be an honest gentleman, have a family, and have your sexual relationships with your wife and have children. So in that way, the sexual proclivities can be satisfied, at the same time one's spiritual advancement can be secured. That's why he said that. Now, Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura wanted to make brahmacharis and sannyasis only because for the service of Krishna. Make them and keep them in that purity. Now, if they fall away, oh, you see, he has made them sannyasis and then now fell away. Okay, but that is better than not having a full-on Krishna consciousness. That's what we learn in 1.5.17. What is that? Even if they fall down, they will get a chance. They will get a chance next life or something, much higher somewhere, Let's see. त्यक्त्वा स्वधर्मं चरणाम्बुजं हरेर भजन अपक्वोथ पतेत्ततो यदि यत्रक्व वा भद्रम अभूतमुष्यकिं कोवार्थ आप्तो अभजतां स्वधर्मतः. One who has forsaken his material occupations. See, he has given up all material occupations, even the point of having grihastha life or whatever. To engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything. And moreover, if they followed Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākur's instructions, those people who fell down would not have fallen down. The fall down is not because they were made into brahmacharis or sannyasis and that's why they fell down. No. Because they did not follow. Because they became lax in their service. That's why they fell down. So to make the blame on, because you made them sannyasis, that's why they fell down. That's wrong. The argument is wrong totally. And even if they did fall down, whatever they did will be to their credit. Their 100% seva, what they did, will help them in future when they come back. So, there are so many such contentions, but don't associate with this kind of people who advocate this as philosophy. So you're saying, for me, Prabhupada's words are the truth and the reasoning doesn't matter. Okay, good. Now, but this person was questioning why each Acharya initiation was not a Diksha chain from a predecessor Acharya. The justification is that each of our 5 Acharyas should strictly follow a Diksha chain. Meaning each Acharya should have gotten Diksha from previous Acharya. I request you by bowing down to Prabhupada to provide pointers for rebuttal. No, our parampara is always Shiksha. What is actually Diksha and what is Shiksha? That means Guru Tattva is not properly understood by this person. What is Diksha and Shiksha, first of all? What is Diksha? What is the meaning of Diksha? What is the definition of Diksha? Okay, let's take out that verse from the Bhaktisandarbha. So you see, Bhaktisandarbha, Jiva Goswami says, he explains Diksha as follows: Divyam Jnanam Yato Dadyat Kuryat Papasya Sankshayam Tasmat Diksheti Saprokta Deshikais Tattva Kovidaihi. Diksha is the process by which one can awaken his transcendental knowledge and vanquish all reactions caused by sinful activity. A person expert in the study of the revealed scriptures knows this process as Diksha. Diksha does not mean just sitting there and throwing the Agnihotra in the fire and doing the yajna and then getting the name officially. That's not the Diksha. That is a ceremonial acceptance of Diksha, yes. Ceremonial, formal acceptance of vows by the disciple. But Diksha means, by definition, Divyam Jnanam, Di and Ksha. Di stands for, it's an acronym, Divya Jnanam. Di stands for Divya Jnana. And Ksha stands for Kshapayati. Kshapayati means the destruction, the vanquishment of all our sinful reactions. So that is Diksha. So when you have transcendental knowledge, that's when your reactions of the past misdeeds will become vanquished. That's how we surrender. And that is stated in Bhagavad Gita. See. यथैधाम से समिद्धोग्निर भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञानाग्निः सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा. As a blazing fire turns firewood into ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. So this is Kshapayati. So the fire of knowledge will burn. So that knowledge is given by the Acharya, Diksha. So, although it is Siksha line, the Diksha is actually the imparting of the knowledge. And although officially they might have gotten Diksha from someone, but Siksha line is actually what is more important, because if you see in the Parampara, 4th chapter, how does Krishna define the Parampara? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, okay? Bhagavan is defining Parampara. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manurikshvakave abravit. Proktavan, praha, abravit. Let's see what they are. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha said, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan, instructed. So Krishna instructed this science to Vivaswan. Okay. Then what happened? Vivaswan manave praha, told. So Vivaswan instructed Manu, praha. Manur ikshvakave abravit. Abravit again said, means spoken again. The teachings, the instructions were given. So Krishna gave to Vivaswan instructions. Vivaswan gave to Manu the instructions. Manu gave the Ikshvaku the instructions, the knowledge. Translation. The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. And then the next verse, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu, again viduhu. So this is the parampara, instruction. That is parampara. And viduhu, imam rajarshayo viduhu, sakaleneha mahata yogo nashta parantava. So viduhu means what? Again, understood. So the knowledge is given by the guru and understood by the disciple. That is parampara. Evam parampara praptam. Understand? The supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession. Was thus received. How received? What is disciplic succession? What is parampara? Was thus received. How received? The previous verse. Told, told, told. Instructed, instructed, instructed. So the instruction is the way in which the science was received through the chain of disciplic succession. And in the 4th chapter, 34th verse, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Upadekshanti means what? Upadekshanti means what? They teach you, my dear. What is Upadekshanti? Te jnanam. Jnana sattvadarshana. We should approach the spiritual master. For what? ISKCON like to quote this. Oh, you must approach. So the guru must be there. You must go nearer, proximal. You should be 1 meter away from your guru. Approach, or even 10 centimeters away from the guru. That means you're approached very close to the guru. You're a very close associate of the guru, because you're only 10 centimeters away from him, 1 centimeter away from him, or molested by him. Vidhi, try to understand. You see, tad vidhi. Try to understand that knowledge of different sacrifices. So tad vidhi. Try to understand. The disciple should understand. How to understand? By approaching a spiritual master, not independently. And what does the approach means? Pariprashnena, by submissive inquiries, sevaya, and pranipatena. Sorry, approaching pranipatena means by surrender. Nipata means surrender. Pranipatena. So we have to surrender, inquire, and serve, and then they will initiate. Upadekshanti means what? Here, initiate. Te jnanam. Actually, Upadekshanti means what? Enlighten you. Upadekshanti. Okay? Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge. In the word to word is initiate, right? Upadekshanti means imparting knowledge. That is called Upadekshanti in plural. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. So imparting knowledge is what we should go to Guru for, which is Siksha. When Narad Muni spoke to Prahlad's mother, Prahlad was inside the womb of the mother. He heard what Narad Muni was saying. And that's how he got initiated. That's how he became a pure devotee. He heard from his spiritual master. There was no formal sacrifice. Then Prahlad was throwing grains from inside the womb of the mother. Nothing. He heard from inside the womb of the mother. And that was the initiation. How did Brahma get initiated? Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye. He heard of course, from the heart, he heard the sound of the flute of Krishna's Venu. And that flute sound of Krishna became transformed as the Gayatri mantra, especially the Kama Gayatri. And that's how he became perfect in his spiritual life. By hearing again. He heard Tapa first, the instruction, and he executed the instruction, he became perfect. What is the use of just me sitting there and throwing grains into the fire and not following any other instruction of Prabhupada? That's not initiation. Initiation does not mean only in one way. Of course, Prabhupada institutionalized and formalized it in one particular way, the ceremony itself. But the real initiation means how we take the instruction of the spiritual master. So it's always a Siksha line. It's never the Diksha line per se. They gave Diksha, yes. But the main thing that sustains that Diksha is the Siksha. The Siksha is the sustenance of Parampara. Just because you got some name from somebody, now that is the Parampara. Focus on the substance, not the externals, rituals. Like for example, just now the Lalita Prasad, he had this opinion that Bhaktivinoda Thakur said Grahastha is the safest position for devotees. So his understanding is, if we do anything other than Grahastha, that means we are wrong, we are not following Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He does not understand that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is not focusing on Grahastha ashram. He is focusing on stable Krishna consciousness, whichever way that can be done. So, because the society at that time was, and he did not start, Bhaktivinoda Thakur did not start movement like with temple constructions and such preaching, organized preaching that Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura did. He did not do that. So, in the absence of such mathas, so he said, be married and be gentlemen and then be devotees. So, there was not a formal structure yet. Intellectually, he wrote a lot of books presenting the highest ideals of Vaishnavism on the level of the Goswamis of Vrindavan. That's why it's called the seventh Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But externally, the institution wasn't there. Whereas Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura institutionalized it. And he built mansions of marble to house the brahmacharis and sannyasis and made it an army base from which devotees are sent out for preaching, book distribution, collecting and organizing festivals, all of that. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's main instruction is to why Grihasthashram? Because they can be stable in their Krishna consciousness. But if another situation can be created where the Krishna consciousness can be stabilized, that stable Krishna consciousness is the instruction of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the real instruction. But he focused on the lesser important thing, which is the Grihasthashram. You see, he missed the point. So likewise, ISKCON misses the point all the time in this point that, they used to approach the spiritual, go near, go very near. That's not called approaching. Prabhupada did not approach Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura like that. There are many other disciples he had who were constantly with Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura who completely misunderstood him. Whereas Prabhupada was 10 times hardly he met his guru, he said. And he was the one who's closest to his spiritual master, closest associate of his spiritual master, by instruction. So if Diksha is the only way, then why Lalita Prasad's Diksha disciples, where they are, what preaching they are doing? The proof is in the pudding now. Where is the pudding? So, you don't understand by the result. I won't connect to that ISKCON, but can I go to temple for darshan, kirtan and prasadam and it's a congregation template? Temple, okay. You can go in the absence of what we have. I mean, because we don't have anything, you can go, but don't closely associate. For classes, we attend those online classes here in this ISKM. Yeah. Prabhupada himself said that his brother was envious of, yeah. Yeah, a lot of evil gossip, malicious gossip about Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. Yeah. The main point, Prabhu, he was saying why Bhaktivinoda Thakur was not initiated by Jagannath Das Babaji and why Guru Kishore Das Babaji was not initiated by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So his conclusion was the Sampradaya is not linked by Diksha. What's the rebuttal here? We don't claim the Parampara to be linked by Diksha at all. We say it is linked by Siksha. That's our contention. We don't say it is a Diksha Parampara. It's a Siksha Parampara. And that is the sustenance of the Parampara, not the Diksha per se. The Siksha is the sustenance of the Parampara. Okay, Tilak is asking some question which is not exactly relevant here. And so I cannot answer it because it's beyond the scope of the current topic. Okay. If someone such as becoming a king or wealthy person, this seems contradictory. How can both be true? No. our next life is based on not only our thoughts, not only our desires, but also what we deserve. We will get what we desire to the level of what we deserve. Okay, I don't want to expand more on that because that's not the subject of the class today. There are so many branches and not everyone was mentioned in the Guru Parampara. Is that right? Yeah, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees. See, it's a tree. Parampara is not a singular straight line. The our 32 names from Krishna is the nodes of the tree which traces to our line. But the tree, like for example, one like Narad Muni, and next is Vyasadev, next is Madhvacharya. But Narad Muni had so many millions of devotees. All of them had their own disciples. So it's a huge branch, huge um, uh, divergence there, like so many branches from Narad Muni. But our branch is this node of sorry, Vyasadev and their Madhvacharya like that coming down. So, Dina Krishna Prabhu is saying, some devotees easily accept what you have said about Shiksha Parampara and what real initiation is, but they don't accept any physical authority and that is their misfortune. Yeah, so Shiksha means you have to accept the Shiksha of Prabhupada from his books, but then be trained by his servants in the physical way as well. We can't love Prabhupada in the air. We have to use our mind, body, and words in the service. So, in the association of devotees, what is Prabhupada's Shiksha? Okay, what is Prabhupada's Shiksha? To associate with devotees and do service with them. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, now I think the audio is all right. Krishna. Let me know if the audio is all right now. I have placed another mic. Is it all right? If it is, then I can proceed further. Okay. I'm sorry for that. I did not notice. I should have noticed the comments that were coming. So Dina Krishna Prabhu's question. Oh my Krishna. So this is the question I have to start now. Okay. Again. Some devotees easily accept what you have said about Shiksha Parampara and what real initiation is, but they don't want to accept any physical authority, and that is their misfortune. So, yes. Yes, that is misfortune. That is unfortunate. Because what is Prabhupada's Shiksha? Prabhupada's Shiksha, he said, associate with devotees and serve me in their association. How are we going to learn deity worship? How are we going to learn cooking? How are we going to learn how to deal with devotees? How to organize festivals? All these we have to learn. So Prabhupada's Shiksha means doing all these things. Krishnarthya akhila cheshta. People have a wrong impression, wrong understanding that Shiksha means just reading Prabhupada's books and that's it. That is Shiksha. I am connected with Prabhupada's Shiksha. Shiksha means do what he asks you to do. What did he say in those books? What did he say in those lectures, conversations, letters? What is he saying? Our actions should coincide with the teachings. So he said in those books that associate with devotees, always associate with devotees. Prabhupada said, and in their service, and that's why he constructed temples. Otherwise, why? He could have just distributed books and that's it. We will not have any temples. He could have said that, right? Why did he have temples? So because of this, that there has to be association of devotees, and that's his Shiksha. So if I'm following Shiksha and I'm not having any physical association or authority, then I'm not understanding what Prabhupada is saying. I'm not following his Shiksha. Okay. So next question is, yeah. So again, Harrison Matthew. If Shiksha is our Parampara Prabhu, then ISKCON camp places Srila Prabhupada as a Shiksha Guru and other bogus Gurus as Diksha Guru. The question is, if we say ours is a Shiksha Parampara, then ISKCON camp will use it to their advantage. What's the actual rebuttal here, Prabhu? Okay. So ours is a Shiksha Parampara, yes. What is Shiksha? What is Prabhupada's Shiksha? His instruction, his books, his letters, his conversations, his lectures, everything, right? And also how he trained his disciples, his actions, his example, everything is his Shiksha. Now, his instruction was to do the Ritvik system, clearly, documented. And he also stated what is the qualification of the Diksha Guru. We are not saying Diksha is not important. The Diksha Guru has to be a pure devotee in order to be powerful enough to recommend us to Krishna and accept us in that way. But the Shiksha is what sustains the Parampara. Suppose a hypothetical situation where Prabhupada gives you Diksha, okay, he gives you name, he gives you Mala, but there are no books. Suppose there are no books, nothing. Just gives you name, Mala, and you chant. And Prabhupada is traveling world over, giving Diksha to everybody, and it's traveling everything. How am I going to improve in my spiritual life? So Diksha is necessary. I'm not saying Diksha is not necessary. But Shiksha is what sustains. Because Diksha can happen, I can meet Prabhupada once. I haven't even met. Like, there are devotees who have met him once and got initiated. And then they never met. So how are they going to get teachings from Prabhupada? And how are they going to sustain their spiritual lives? It's because of the Shiksha, the teachings. So the Shiksha will sustain the parampara. In the case of Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, and Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, all four of them are pure devotees. Mind you, each of them were dealing with many non-pure devotees as well. They are nowhere in the parampara. So even if it's not a strict Diksha line, because there were pure devotees there, the nodes worked. It is not that Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was not a pure devotee until he met Bhaktivinoda Thakur. No, he was a pure devotee already. It was not that Bhaktivinoda Thakur wasn't a pure devotee until he met Jagannath Das Babaji. No, he was already a pure devotee. Although he was a born pure devotee. So they are of a different league, Nitya Siddha devotees. Nitya Siddha devotees cannot be equated with us. So even though he did not, like Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, do you think he became pure devotee only when he was initiated by Gaur Kishore Das Babaji? No, he was already a pure devotee from birth. Bhaktivinoda Thakur asked Krishna to send a ray of Vishnu, and Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura came. He came from the personal staff of the Lord. Prabhupada came from the personal staff of the Lord. So their discipleship, their guruship is very different from us. We are complete conditioned souls. We cannot become purified just by other Siksha or some loose association with a pure devotee. No, we need a very strict program, very disciplined approach, a complete regimented program for us to stay potent in our devotional lives and actually grow. We need to actually grow. Prabhupada did not need to grow. He was already a pure devotee. So, in our case, Prabhupada's Siksha is, one of his Siksha is that do the Diksha in this way, Ritvik system. Then do it that way, that's all. Why you have to introduce something against his Siksha? Introduce a guru who is not qualified, which is completely against, completely apasiddhantic, and they say we are apasiddhanta. They are completely apasiddhanta. Nectar of instruction, first verse, what it is saying. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jihva vegam, udaropastha vegam, etan veganyo vishayeta dhiraha, sarvam apimam, prithvim sa shishyat. He cannot accept disciples unless he is 100% Krishna conscious in character. So, that's the standard of a Diksha Guru. He has to be that. But the Siksha is what sustains the parampara. Now, if ISKCON says, no, we are also following ISKCON Prabhupada Siksha only. Okay. Then why are you giving Prabhupada's books and then making them surrendering to a non-bona fide, not pure devotee? Is that what Prabhupada's Siksha is in the books? That you can surrender to a guru who is elected by a bunch of conditioned souls, whose character is questionable, and you surrender to him and you will be following Prabhupada's Siksha. How are you following Prabhupada's Siksha if you accept that kind of guru? Is that what Prabhupada is saying in his books? So following Prabhupada's Siksha is just saying that, oh, Prabhupada is our Siksha Guru does not make you his Siksha Guru. If you take him as a Siksha Guru, take everything that he says as Siksha. Not that cherry pick, okay, I will take this one, Ritvik system I will not take because I don't think that is correct. Prabhupada will not be so apasiddhantic and apasampradayak that he will say something like Ritvik system. He said it with his own mouth. Ritvik, yes. And yes, regular Guru, you become Amar Agnya. On my order, you become regular Guru. Until then, don't talk about regular Guru. He used two words, Ritvik, yes, and then regular Guru. When I order you, you become a regular Guru. So regular Guru and Ritvik are not the same. What is a regular Guru? That means a pure devotee, qualified, authorized, everything. You're not regular Guru, you're just a Ritvik. Do it on my behalf and shut up and that's all. So that's what Prabhupada said. So these people gone against. How is that Shiksha following? Prabhupada's books are saying one thing, your actions are saying something else. You're making them surrendering to a non-pure devotee, which is never what Prabhupada said in his books. And his teachings was never that you have to approach a physical guru. In that case, even those who are actually Prabhupada disciples initiated by him never met him physically or hardly met him. Only a few can say that they have been with Prabhupada a lot. But many of them 2-3 times in their life. And Prabhupada did not personally check whether they're following everything. Temple president did. They just recommended their names and then Prabhupada gave. Sundar Gopal Prabhu, our mentor here, senior mentor. How did he get initiated in 1977? His name was given by somebody, he did not even see Sundar Gopal Prabhu. Totally different country, never came in proximity even, thousands of kilometers away. And yet, he was initiated. How is he connected to Prabhupada then? Not one teaching he got from Prabhupada directly. Never saw him personally. What kind of teaching, what kind of initiation is that? That's why the initiation is Shiksha, Prabhupada's books, which is non-different from Prabhupada. But then, the association which leads us to following Prabhupada's books perfectly should also be proper. I cannot say Shiksha Guru, and then I will not follow any Shiksha of Prabhupada. That's not Shiksha Guru. That's not me accepting Prabhupada as Shiksha Guru. I'm cheating in the name of accepting Prabhupada as Shiksha Guru. I'm not accepting Shiksha, and I'm not accepting his Diksha also. I'm putting some rascal in the middle and saying that this is the person who is now you have to follow, who was never authorized, never qualified. But just by the fact that he disobeyed Prabhupada, he's not qualified already. Oh, how we can say he did so much service? We respect his service. We will fall at his feet for his service. But we will condemn his disservice. If he was really a pure devotee, he will never go against Prabhupada's instructions. Prabhupada said Ritvik means if he's a pure devotee, he will follow Prabhupada's instruction as Ritvik, even if he is a pure devotee. And Prabhupada's books are enough to teach us. And if other devotees, sannyasis or whoever they may be, if they guide us according to Prabhupada's instructions and do everything what Prabhupada wanted us to do, that would be proper Shiksha Guru, and Prabhupada Shiksha will actually guide us, and his Diksha will also guide us. I hope that is clear. Okay, if we take Ritvik Guru, then whose instruction we will follow in day-to-day issue, whom to approach? Our temple authorities, who are following the system of Prabhupada. They will be the ones who will guide you according to Prabhupada's instructions. Yes, even in the ISKCON disciple course, the same thing is written, but the Guru's business is to bring you to Krishna. Prabhupada can do that. They can't. So why do we need them at all? Precisely. They would be helpful if they helped you understand Prabhupada's teachings and engage you in service according to Prabhupada's teachings and uphold Prabhupada's teachings. That way, that would have been helpful. But if they are going to take you away from Prabhupada's teachings, they're doing disservice. That's the point. I hope everything is clear. Thank you for your time. It's very, very late here, 11:30 almost. So, all right, I'll take leave and tomorrow we'll continue with the third part. I think it's not going to finish in third part. It will go on because what I realized was when I'm explaining, people are not understanding the language of Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura and they're not kind of connecting the dots. Some devotees have mentioned that as well. So I wanted to actually go into the depth of each of the sentences that he was saying, that how much ever I realized, so that devotees can understand from many angles, and hopefully that will help. All right. Thank you very much. Shri Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrind ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.